All right. I guess here we are. So, if anybody can hear me, just to write a little thing in the thing there, and then I don't know, then we can hang out. There's Alfred Clues. Hey, Alfred, is the audio working, buddy? You guys just let me know. And oh well, there's two people there, so that's fun. Oh, hi, Wayne. Here and see. Audio is okay. Great. Thank you so much, Elliot. Hey, Uncle Mark. Wow, look at all these people. Wow. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to turn this off. Very good. Oh, look at that. There's Randall. Hey, guys. Eric and Ron and James and Flash 1499 and Dr. Falcon 4102. And Randall and Scott Govey and Old Peters 72 and Mike Perry. Hey, Mike. Robert Krieg from Bar Harbor, Maine. George Francis, Tom Holtz. Sorry, guys. I could read everybody's name, but I think y'all know your names. Thank you guys for stopping in. What has happened, and I think we saw hints of it over the last couple of weeks. I really thought it was something I was doing wrong. This is like the third video in a row where I've had trouble with the audio, and it turns out that it's not me and it's not the cable. It is actually the camera. And I just went to edit the Thursday video, and all the audio is missing. And I've just I can't do this the third time in a row. Luckily, all of the hey, there's Jonathan. Cheers, Jonathan. Am I in Canada now? Well, if you were, you could come to the races, buddy. I just thought I would do a live thing because I had audio failure. So until I get the camera fixed, I'm not. I can't do much else. So anyway, we're doing this, and I've got so much editing to do the V8 showdown. I was up all night last night, and I'll be up all night tonight and all night tomorrow. It's just a huge amount of editing because we had so many different cameras going, and there's a bunch of work to get that going. So I just thought, rather than beat my head against the wall with trying to fix the camera right now, that we'll just do a short live thing. If anybody has any questions with regard to the V8 show, don't ask me how it wins or how it ends. Although I think we all know that Jonathan probably going to win. I was just, I'll put it this way, I was very, very pleased with how our cars performed. And there's the Hammers. How's it going? Hey, look at that. There's Andy. Andy's from New Brunswick. Very good. There's Wayne. Wow, look at all these guys. Frankers. Tom asked where Frankers is. She's right there. She's sitting beside me. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, you guys let me know. I think what is going to have to happen is I'm going to make a fairly short video, which is essentially just the finale to the V8s this week. It's just so much work to edit it, and then anything after it would be anticlimactic anyway. So I think we'll do a short video showing, in fact, just the race and the showdown. Jonathan just sent me a link, so I will have access to his footage as well. So I know, right? Hey, there's Dan, Jonathan W. I know, right? Big time celebrity friends. I know. Well, look who's talking there. I'm just a little sorry, guys. I'm trying to read and talk, and I can't do either. I can barely do either on a good day. And so that's what I'm thinking. And I just thought, well, here's an opportunity rather than put this at the beginning of the video to just let everybody know the video will be essentially just the finale of the V8s. And so then I will probably put, and I've never done this before. Jonathan got disqualified. That's pretty good. I know he didn't. I don't think Jonathan's a nitrous guy. I think he would regard it as dishonest. So we're I haven't seen Jonathan's video yet, so I was in here scrambling to edit the Thursday video together, and then all the audio shit to bed, and I was just like, you know what, it's just not going to happen. So let's just hang out. Wow, this is really fun. Jonathan and Dan and all the guys, you guys, so many of you guys, I recognize so many names. It's really fun that you guys would stop in. So if anybody has any questions for anybody, of course, you guys feel free to ask Dan and Danny questions and Jonathan questions. Although he might be outside working again already. The guy works a lot, so I'm not going to sit here and complain in the presence of guys that work harder than I do. Hey, there's Keith, and yeah, so I'll put it. As far as spoilers go, we did get the cars over there, and we did do the race, and we had a blast, and it went really well. I'm very, very pleased with the performance of these junk cars. In the case of the Studebaker, I was just happy it didn't break right in half, and those because I wasn't driving them, which is probably good because I would have probably been kind of too gentle on them. But the drivers of the two V8 cars, those things went out there, garbage cars, and they just dropped the clutch and sidestepped the clutch all afternoon to get the shots. And those guys are champions, and those utterly thrashed cars, man, they just took it all day. It was awesome. So really, I couldn't ask for more than that. We had very minor technical difficulties, and for the most part, the cars just sat there and just took a thrashing and literally drove themselves on the trailers to come home. So I was really, really happy. Of course, Justin saved the day. We had to move. I bought 3 cars at that auction. That was going to be today's video. I was going to preview 2 of the cars that I bought. So I had to, and of course, that all had to be picked up the same day as we were doing the V8 races. And so I had to move all of those cars on the same day. And Steam had to move them all on the same day. So it was a hellish day. And Justin's totally saved the day. He's got a proper trailer with lights and a winch and all that stuff. It all worked. So we wouldn't have had any of it happen if it hadn't been for Justin being available, and that was massive. Jonathan says Steam is still king, you young fellers. Yeah, I know. That's a little outside of my league. It's just it's like we were talking about airplanes too, and people with a high tolerance for failure like me and some of the other fellas shouldn't have airplanes. And I think maybe we could say the same for Steam. If you're completely happy to just half-ass stuff, you should probably stay away from gigantic pressure vessels, and you should probably stay on the ground where when shit breaks, you just roll off to the side and you don't die. So I'll leave the Steam for the experts. Hey, look at that. There's Elton, our buddy Elton in Montreal has stopped in. Hey, I just got on. Right on, Elton. Cheers, buddy. Yeah, we're just hanging out today. I just had one too many technical failures to try and get the video out. So very kind of everybody to stop in. I won't waste your whole evening. We'll go for an hour or two, and well, I don't even think we'll try and go for an hour, and just then I can get back to the editing. It's going to be a long couple of days here. So very cool that all you guys would stop in. We usually successful YouTube channels have people that read the questions for them, and I don't have that. I don't even have glasses that work apparently. Oh, Wayne's waiting for the SM. That's this winter, buddy. And Frank looking for the calendar. Oh, that's something else I wanted to mention to you guys. It looks like it's going to be a go. I'll give more details as we have them, but I was really worried about how it was going to be shipped, and I'll fill you guys in Bry, thanks for asking. He asked how Franker's eyes was. She's doing really good. Her eye is fine. She's totally herself, and she's just a doll. So, not worried about Franker's, and she's been a champion. She was very good at the vet, and so that is a drama that we are put behind us. Thank goodness. So. As for the schedule on the calendar, I really hope that we are able to start taking orders within the next few days here. I don't want to take anybody's money until we know exactly what it's going to cost to print it and exactly what it's going to cost to ship. Another patron of the show, Matt, actually works at the local shipper supply, and we are actually getting custom made boxes to fit these things. Like, I can't believe that I have contacts in like enough of these areas that we can make this happen. So we're going to have, because it's a very nice thing, I think, and it's got to arrive in good condition. So we're actually having custom boxes made to ship these. So all of this has to come together, and it's all been trying to come together just in the last few days here. And Dan says, "Shut up and take your money." I will be happy to. I'm very happy at hey, and I even saw Dan wearing our T-shirt on his show. Thanks so much, buddy. Every time one of these good channels mentions us, we get some subscribers, so very much appreciated. So as for the calendar, it's going to be a very nice thing. We're printing it all on cardstock, not paper, and it's going to be quite heavy, and it's going to be 11 by 17 photographs that can be cut out and tacked on your wall or whatever. So I'm really, I know it's going to be a little bit expensive, but I don't want to do anything that's just cheap garbage. That's not how I want to run the thing. So that's kind of how the calendars are going. But yeah, because all you guys' encouragement, we've decided. My friend James, he is a fantastic photographer. I don't know. Should we try and preview some of the pictures? Why not? I don't know. This isn't going to work, but we're just sitting here. I don't have any job or any friends anyway. So let's just see some of the photographs that'll be ending up on the calendar. There's one. Can we see that? And again, we're not doing these justice here, but like we spend a lot of time and a lot of Franker's birthday better be on there. That's a great idea. I'll make sure we put that on there. Thank you guys. And yeah, so the calendar is going to be it's going to be coming together, and it's been a lot of work. So yeah, it's very, very cool of you guys to encourage it. Tony asked how Miles's surgery went, and it went very well. He's doing much better, but he wasn't able to drive for the V8 Showdown because, of course, the sketchy old 3-speed was something that we weren't going to be able to manage. I don't know if you guys can hear, but Franker's is smashing her dishes in the other room. Usually I have a guy, usually one of the fellows is here with me. Come here. Quit making so much noise. Come say hi to everybody. Get in your chair there. There you go. What a nice puppy. There. Franker's went to the salon yesterday, so she's all fluffy today. And I don't remember what I was talking about. So, yeah, thank you guys so much. The calendar will be, yes, it will feature, the cover will feature classic darts, and we did a collage on the front and back cover for stuff like screenshots from the show and whatnot. And then the individual months are full-size photographs. I wanted to keep it pretty clean so that the photos could be enjoyed by themselves. So there's no text on them, and there's going to be just a little text underneath on the calendar part. I don't know. I wanted it to be good. Oh, thanks so much, Wayne. Wow. 5 minutes of fuel. Yeah. And fuel is not cheap for those babies. And I've never had so many jerry cans going at the same time. It was a job. So we've been
just, and then 2 days to get all the cars home and put them away, and there's still tools all over the place. It's been an absolute, it has been a busy time. We've been going pretty hard at getting all that. I mean, and it's fun. Don't get me wrong. It was fun, but there was some stressful fun in there, like when you're trying to get all these junk cars into the one place at the same time and get enough people there to drive them and film it and make sure that not only the cars have to work, but the cameras have to work and the drone has to work. And it was anyway, whatever, not your problem. I'm just, part of me is very relieved that it's over. And now, of course, the editing is, I want it to be something that I'm proud of. So I'm very excited. I want to watch Jonathan's footage. He actually was so kind that he filmed his own footage and sent it to me for me to edit into the video for Saturday. So I'm really looking forward to that. And so if you guys see the video on Saturday is going to be very short, it's because the amount of work that it has taken, there's not much point in putting, a half an hour of sanding fenders or something after that, or putting a half an hour of sanding fenders before that. I just want that to be its own little thing. And then I will probably do a video showing all the prep and, because that was actually, it's a lot of fun and a lot of chaos getting the cars there and getting them running. And, everybody likes the sound of farty old engines with no mufflers. So, I mean, believe me, you've got hours of that. So there's all kinds of opportunity for chaos. Oh my, thank you so much. Crowbar, $10. Thank you so much, man. That's very cool. I swear I'm not trying to, I'm not doing the live to take anybody's money, but it's very, very kind of you guys. And there's so very much appreciated. But I was 10 minutes ago I wasn't thinking about doing this at all. When I realized that I'd lost the audio for like the third video in a row, and we're out of time. I was out all afternoon filming with Laura, and so I just thought, well, let's go on and maybe we can we can talk to you guys about the calendar and the V8s and about Jonathan and how all this is going. And so I'm just rambling. So let me just see if there's any questions that I can answer or any comments. Yeah, there's updates on Jim's Lincoln. Good question. Actually, Jim was over last night. No, the night before. Jim was over. Jim and Al were over. We were looking at one of the cars I bought, and actually we did decide. It's been so hectic. Jim's so busy. He's doing a tour in his car this weekend, and I was supposed to be on it, and I just had to say no. I just had to. The last 3-4 weekends in a row have been like 2 hours of sleep, and I just couldn't do another one. But we did discuss as the weather turns here and things kind of get settled down into some kind of sanity level of busy, that we're going to get back on the Continental, and I'm definitely going to finish that quarter panel job. And I'd like to see Jim get the rest of it ready to go as well. And then we'll definitely be putting some paint on that. And Mark II Continental, that's no slouch. Especially who else has a Mark I and a Mark II? Like Jim is the champion. So I actually got to drive Jim's Mark I the other day. What a machine! It was so special. Like, I have similar, old cars of that vintage, but when you get in that Mark I, it's just like, wow. You realize that your other cars are for peasants, because the Mark I is very special and it sounds amazing. The V12, you wouldn't think that a car that old would have that sound, but it sounds like it sounded to me like a Jag, because of course it's a 12 and not an 8 or
So it has that purr of a 6-cylinder engine, but just very special. Just such a treat in the long hood, and it's feel like you're driving something out of a movie because you kind of are. Really special, super fun. So yeah, Jim winning, I think pretty big time. So um, oh, sorry guys, I get so far behind. Oh, thanks so much, Eugene. Oh, Eugene just sent me $10 for put it towards the 72 Fury. I shall. Thank you, buddy. I was just looking at that car today, and I do have plans to get at it. We're putting a hoist up. I hope this year. We'll see. And if we do get the hoist up, then the very first job is going to be 72 Fury. I'd like to get that car running. I won't say what exactly the job's going to be, but I think it'll be fun. One from Bruce Boots, patron Bruce. Thank you so much, buddy. Are you guys prepping for winter beaters? Oh man, I just finished the summer beaters. Like, I can't even think about winter beaters right now. I don't even know what I'm going to drive. We'll see. Right now, I'm just seriously thinking about just driving my truck, because the trouble is the winter beaters end up being as big a project as the summer beaters. So I haven't really thought too much about winter beaters. If the right one comes along, I've always got one eye open. Like, we're always shopping, but I haven't specifically said that's what I want for a winter beater. So, but who knows, right? Thank you guys so much. Dan's asked if I still got the $5 Roadster. I do. I'd like to finish it. It's the trouble is that, well, and I think Dan, he probably knows, it's easier to put the smaller jobs ahead of it. And since most jobs are smaller than scratch built cars, the Roadster keeps getting put behind various other things. But I really do want to finish it, even just to get the shop space back. It's 80% finished, but I can't put that much time into that car until my sister's car is done. And then once I have no cars that I'm doing for anybody else, then when it's all my own cars in the shop, then it'll be right near the top there. I'd like to get it done. The SM, 72 Fury, 59 Buick. Those are just like kind of the ones that are pushing near the top. I just bought 3 more cars, 2 of which are restorable. We'll save the video, or save those for the video, but so yeah, it's all on the list. It's just the list. Oh God, what is the matter with me? Dawn says I have a Fraser. Well, I do have a Fraser. That's I did actually, the original plan when I bought the Fraser was to make it a winter beater, but then when you put all that work into it, and you're like, well, if you drive it into whatever they put on the roads now, sodium, or no, it's not even, so it's calcium, whatever they put on the roads now, just turns cars into garbage. And I just can't do it to a 75-year-old car and just be like, just go and rot it out. So I just never, even though I'm not going to restore the car, I'm not going to just turn it into garbage by driving it in. And that's the big thing with winter beaters. It's trying to find that balance between something that's fun and funky and cool, but you also know that you're destroying it by driving it in the winter. So what's finding that balance? And even with the Renault, I drove it a couple of times and I'm like, I put too much work into this to just turn it into garbage again. So we'll see, something will come along. But that's why winter beaters to me are like 70s. But even that stuff, I was looking around last year trying to find some throwaway 70s barge, and anything you want to drive, it's cost as much as a good car. Well, you might as well just buy a good car. So that's kind of how I'm at with the winter beaters right now. Just I'm still trying to fix the summer cars. Honestly, it's just crazy. There's Farrell at Shopcott. How's it going, buddy? And well, you guys, thanks all for stopping in. 72 Furies are going back on the road. If you're talking about the wagon, yes. The hardtop, probably not by me. Not that it's not restorable. Everything's restorable, but it's pretty poopy. Like, the water just pours in the windshield. There's no floors.
it's the quarters are just blown right out of it. And it's pretty poor. It would have to be be worth 10 times as much as it is to be worth restoring it. So, did I purchase a Renault at the auction? Well, spoiler, yes, I did. I did purchase one. So, as for brakes and engine on the forklift, no, I just drive it with the park brake, and the engine, it's fine. It's not great, but neither are the cars it lifts up. If I was trying to make money with that forklift, it would have to be a completely different unit. But literally to lift up 3 junkers a year, which is what I use it for, it's totally fine. So that's kind of how that's going. Dodge 40 Dodge again. It would be cool. I would drive all these cars in the winter if it wasn't destroying them. I just hate seeing all that white crusty corrosion on cars that could have been saved. So because that's it kind of wrecks them. So the 72 Fury, yeah, that's cool. Out of order garage, waiting to see the 59 Buick. Yes, that is going to start with the mechanics on it this winter. I've got the engine that Miles and I went and picked up. So we'll be putting an engine and transmission together because that's something that can be done at a very small amount of the shop. While I really need to concentrate on body work on on Laura's car, which is just about done. It's getting ready for paint actually. With some actual time, I could even put paint on it this week, just on the shell itself. So that's kind of where I'm aiming. Is there another 60 Fury type of project? Like you mean a monster rust bucket junker? The 59 Buick is close. That's a complete body off restoration, and that'll be a big job. I also have another splice. I'd like to splice my 61. I got a 61 4-door that I've had since I was a kid, and I've always wished it was a 2-door hardtop. And I have that white 2-door hardtop that is an absolute rusted out basket case. There's not a single good piece on it except for the doors, the roof, and the tops of the quarters, which is all you need to do the conversion. So maybe we'll get together with Dan and we'll do some more 2-door hardtop splices. That'll be fun. So I'd be into that. Definitely. I mean, I have an absolutely bottomless list of junkers that I just have to get up every day and hammer through. So I almost look forward to winter sometimes because then you just get up and there's nothing to do outside. Just go in your garage and hammer on stuff. And I really, over the years, I used to really dread winter, but now I kind of like, well, what's the worst that can happen? You get stuck in your garage with all your cars that you like and you play with them. So when are we going to restore the forklift? Kyle always just never stops about restoring the forklift. Subscribe to see forklift restoration. Gets pushed to the bottom. I know. Kyle. Maybe Kyle will come out and you guys all, keep harassing Kyle and he'll come out and he can like do all the metal work on it. Forklift has been pushed over several cliffs. Like that thing, it needs some love. Like if there was a forklift demolition derby, that thing has been in it. It's probably a champion. Did I ride my motorcycle this year? Oh yeah, I had it out a few times. Yeah. Yeah, not as much as I'd like, but I'm just the number of times that I've woke up in the morning and said, "Oh, I just got nothing to do. I'm just gonna go ride around." It's at literally zero. Like I almost have to say I have to get out there and deliberately say I'm going to ride my motorcycle over, and then I think, well, you might as well take it somewhere where you can just literally I'll run some bullshit errand on it just to get it out. Took it over to Dan's a couple times. Took it for a couple drives. I love the thing. I used to ride a lot, but then I was like, why don't you ride anymore? Like, Doc. And Frankers goes everywhere. Oh, look at Sleepy Frankers. Frankers doesn't ride the motorcycle. And I'm not getting a sidecar. I know people always suggest that to me. I don't like sidecars. Just turns your motorcycle into a shitty car. I'd rather just buy another car than have a 3-wheeled motorcycle. So, hey, Don, 38 Chevy. Nice. I was out driving a 37 today. Oh, Jonathan's sub for forklift resto. I was hoping Jonathan might give me some cred for my crappy old tractor, but I guess 25th place in the tractor polls isn't really going to do much there. I think Jonathan was quite active in the tractor and vintage tractors and tractor pull community. So I assume that he has a good laugh when he sees me driving mine around. How many 403s do I have now? Dude, that was going to be today's video, was looking at my other 403. And then it's just a whole lot of me going like this and no sound. And then I like for the third time that's happened. And so I just, so here we are. Anyway, yeah, sorry guys. I would have been happy to put up a video today, and then it just, and to have just barely enough time and come inside, and then to find that the audio is wrecked and there's just no time to dub it all over again. And so it's like, well, let's just hang out, let's just have some fun. So here we are. Sorry guys, I'm trying to keep up with the questions, and feel free to write, whatever happened to the white Jeep. Oh, I sold that actually. Somebody on Facebook, I'm not on Facebook, but Dan is, and somebody had a wanted ad for it, and I was like, well, I had tried towing with it. It wasn't up to the towing. The wiring harness was crap, and it was so rusty. And I was like, this needs a bigger restoration than any of my tail fin cars. So when I saw the ad, I kind of thought, well, here's a guy looking for exactly. I said, well, and if a guy's got a want ad and he wanted like a cheap one, I was like, well, here's the cheapest one you're going to find that you can drive home. So I said, you come over, here's my price. Walk around for 5 minutes. It's yes or no. If it's yes, to pay me and drive it home. And so he did. So that was nice, because I don't like selling cars. I don't like the guy doesn't show up and then the asking your wife and all that shit. And I was just like, nope, yes or no. And so, yeah, when I had an opportunity to sell it, and I had just bought the Dodge Diesel, which will tow a house, much better tow vehicle. The Wagoneer was cool, but just wasn't the right vehicle at the right time. And I didn't have time to restore it properly. So, no regrets. It was cool, but it was another case of my eyes wanted it more than my brain. So I ended up with it. And I think, I did the right thing. And I never thought I would get so lucky to find the Dodge pickup that I did find. So much happier with the pickup. It's much more suited to what I'm doing. And the Jeep was closer to a wagon. And now I've got the 72 Plymouth wagon that I want to restore anyway. So that's what happened to that. Yeah. Convert the forklift to steam. Okay. If Jonathan will help. How much is the calendar? I don't know. We'll know that in the next few days. I'm really literally, I have to figure out what it's worth to me to do all the work, plus add the cost of production, the cost of making all the boxes, which have to be custom made to fit the thing, and then the cost of printing and all this crap, and then the cost. See, the thing is, the cost is contingent on how many I'm going to sell, but how many I'm going to sell is contingent on the cost. So I have to kind of take a chance that I'm going to sell X number if I'm going to price them at a certain amount, because anyway, it's whatever. Like the shirts are easy because I have my cost and we take orders for 2 weeks and then I print the exact number. But I don't really think the calendar is going to work quite that way. So we're going to have to, there's just a lot more. The people we usually use to do our shirts, who have been excellent, don't get me wrong, they do a beautiful job. I'm very happy with the quality of the shirts that they make and all that stuff. And, 99.99% happy, successful with the work that they do. They don't do calendars. So the calendars are literally getting mailed from my living room. That'll be a lot more involved, a lot more work, and printed locally and all this type of thing. Like I'm trying to, if I have to do it, it has to be done completely, like in this building. So the calendar thing is, I have to, factor all that stuff in. And then we're going to take orders, and I'll probably round up to the next 100 or something. And then when we'll ship everything that's paid for, and if there's a 50 or 60 left, they'll go in the Colbert Motor store and they'll get sold. But the trouble with calendars, like if, for example, I wanted to sell 1,000 or printed 1,000 to get a better break on the printing, well, if I sell 300, then 700 of those calendars become worth $0 on January 1st. Nobody's shopping for calendars in the third week of January.
So that's like a serious problem when it's literally all coming out of my pocket to print those. So I have to be very careful to balance getting a good price on the printing. But if you print too many and you get stuck with them, they're firewood. And it's because I want to do such a nice job of it, I can't. It's it's not like that's going to be like $20 to throw them all out. Like they're going to be very expensive to print, whether anybody buys one or not. So that's kind of why I'm being a little careful about what I say about what they're going to cost. I will know pretty soon. Is last year's calendar cheaper? Yeah, because I didn't print one. Maybe you put it to 2020. Yeah, it's like used calendars, like used cars. If they were still worth 50% when they were 3 years old, like cars and trucks are, I'd print a bunch, sell them for half. But they get pretty worthless. So I don't know. I just have to, maybe, you know what I'll do if they don't sell, we'll just cut them up and I'll just sell them as pictures. Just ignore the back. It's just a nice picture of Frankers. Hey, so somebody, let's see. I think he's got me in for a calendar. Well, thank you. I know a guy who would sell you a Bricklin. Yeah, I think. Do I have any SBCs for sale? No, I do not actually own any currently. No. Do not put Dean in a Speedo. Don't worry. Just getting Dean to have a speedometer that works. It's not a calendar. It's nice car pictures. That's kind of what it is. Yeah, it's like 12 really nice pictures that just happen to have a calendar on the back. So I don't know. That's my pitch, because who needs a calendar? I mean, I got one of these. I don't need a calendar. I don't even look at the date anyway. Who cares? It's all the same. So run you over and I filmed. That's funny. You may want to start a pre-order for your calendar. Yeah, well, that's the plan. That's the plan for this weekend, possibly. How's Laura's cabin? We were just looking at it today. The cabin is not a cabin yet, but it is now a very large hole in the ground where the foundation is going to be poured in the next few weeks, we think. And then the cabin goes, of course, on top of that. So I have an update of that filmed, and we'll see how that goes. Thank you, Andrew. Very kind of you. In for a calendar. Well, that's very cool. I like to say, I really think that we've got some good photography. My friend James came up from Calgary. He spent 2 days here with me, and we drove around in all the cars, and we got a lot of really great pictures. And so I'm not going to do them any more injustice by trying to show you guys on my phone. They're quite good. So I think James has actually been published in Road and Track magazine. Like we're not talking phone pictures, like really properly lit, proper camera, really good stuff. Like I like taking pictures too, but he's like good at it. So I was really happy that he would do that. So if you're watching, James, thanks so much, buddy. James does, he's actually a pilot and a pilot instructor and does photography for a hobby, and very talented gentleman. Very lucky to know him. James is actually Laura's husband's nephew. So just another example of having, how lucky a guy can be to lay his hands on this kind of a skill set just among people he already know. So really fun. Any update on the T's interior? No, I didn't get to it yet. I had it inside last winter to do it, and then we ended up doing the engine instead. And so the interior, I don't know, I've just been using the car so much. I don't want to be without it. And then winter came and we ended up doing the engine. So it'll get done. It's all in a big, nice new, I haven't even opened the box. I don't want to lose anything. So there's a huge box in my living room with a complete Model T interior and it just waiting to go. And Brian asking what the address is. It's posted in the description under every video if you want to send something. So that's very kind of you. But I was getting so many emails about where's my address that I just posted. That's the mailing address, mind you, but it is posted in the description and the top comment under every single video.
Cheers. Thanks again. 64 Laurentian. No, I don't have any body panels. So yeah, no 60s BOP. No, Miles' friend, the guy that Miles bought his car from, he sells all kinds of that stuff, and I'm sure he's on Facebook in Edmonton area. Yeah, Douglas, yeah, got the Mustang going. That's great. Thanks so much for stopping in, buddy. So there's yeah, and next mail call. I don't know if I talked about this. I had the hard drive crash in my computer, and we had opened a whole ton of mail, and Dylan was here, and everybody was here, and we opened all this amazing mail, and it was just awesome. But it was so much editing, and I hadn't finished editing yet, and then the hard drive got destroyed. So all of that footage is gone. Of course, all the mail is still here, but now I have to go and try and put that together and find. And I went to get the hard drive looked at, and they wanted over $2,000 to get my data off the hard drive. And if it was nuclear secrets, I could do it, but even if it was less than $1,000, I was going to do it. But I just can't justify over $2,000. I kept the hard drive, and one day we'll figure out how to get that off of there, and I will do all that, and I'll edit all that mail up. It was a great evening, and we had so much fun. There was so much cool mail. So that's the only thing I really was sad that I lost that wasn't edited, because most of it was just raw footage that I've already edited into videos that you've seen. But I liked having all of that. I mean, that was the reason that was such a gigantic 10 terabyte hard drive, is because I like to keep, for whatever stupid reason, I keep all the unedited footage in case I ever wanted to do something with it. And then, of course, all that happened was it got smashed, and now here we are. So the lesson learned there was I only buy solid state hard drives now. That was one of those ones that spinning, it had moving parts in it. So, of course, which one do you think gets knocked on the ground? There you go. So I have not, we tried a few places. One place they were like 3,000 miles away and wanted $3,000. And then another place, local place here, they were willing to do it for $2,000. But that's just so much money. Like, that's just crazy amount of money. So just for me anyway. Yeah. So anyhow, I see a lot of good suggestions here. So, send me thank you, Joni. Look, send me the hard drive, do for free. Well, that I don't know what I understood. You need like some kind of NASA tier clean room, but anyway, I didn't want to beg or ask favors, so I've got the thing here, and I'm going to hold on to it. And one day something will happen. The mistake was on my part is it fell down, and it still worked, so I kept using it. And it didn't work quite as good as it should. And I was like, it'll be fine. And it wasn't fine. And one day it just quit working. And it quit working like just randomly in the middle of editing. And then it just shit the bed. And I don't know, maybe that was the last time I did a live stream. Who knows? So, disappointing. But as we said, then I don't know anything about the technology that makes these YouTube and computer and all this stuff work. And yet I seem to have hung a certain amount of my livelihood on that. So that's something I just have to deal with. That's something that you're not allowed to complain when these kind of inevitable things happen. And that's the way she goes. When I consider all the things that people do have go wrong in their lives, losing some hard drive data doesn't even measure, right? It doesn't even make the top 1,000. So I'm not going to sit here and woe is me over some unedited video when people have real problems. So I'll just, we'll see how it goes. But for now, that's all just have to be put aside and just keep moving forward. Yeah, right on. There's, where's Dean? Oh, Dean's visiting his daughter in BC. So that's why, yeah, I like doing these kind of things with Dean or somebody. But in today's case, like I say, 10 minutes or an hour ago, I wasn't even thinking about this. I was editing video, and then I realized that the audio was shot, so I had to do something, and there was just no time to fix it, to put the video out. So I just thought, well, you guys just have to put up with me talking to the camera here. John, yeah, thank you, John. Well, I'll get in touch somehow or other, and I don't know where you are. I'm obviously in northern Canada here, so that's the way it goes. Well, sorry guys, I'm really trying to keep. I'm trying, but I'm. Oh, thank you, John. Of course, yes. We'll communicate through that avenue then. That's very handy. Um, yeah, you bet. If you're willing to have a look at it, that would be massive. I'm of course happy to pay for any amount of hardware and any amount of time. It's just the $2,000 repair was just not an option. So I kind of thought I'll hold on to it, and it's in safe storage. And I figured one of these days some better option will come along, and look at that. Maybe John is the man to sort that out. And I really would like it all back, but it's just another thing like everything else that like I get like 3 hours of sleep a night. It's just another thing that is, for now, it has to go to the side, and so we'll keep moving ahead. But I will be very happy to take you up on that, John. Yeah, let's set that up through the Patreon messages, and you can get me your address, and I'll do whatever we have to do to get that sorted. But it is a big spinning 10 terabyte drive. I don't know. I almost took it apart myself. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to take it apart, And so, but then I was reading about, the size. I got looking at some of the diagrams about like, here's your hard drive needle sensor thing, and here's a piece of dust. And I thought, well, I can't even sit in my car without getting it dusty. How am I going to fix this? So I decided at that point that I would leave it sealed up and look for other options. Have I ever done TIG welding? Oh yeah, I have a TIG welder. Yeah, I like it. I like doing it. Don't do a ton of it. Do you sell cars, or mostly customers working with you as friends? I don't sell cars. I'm pretty good at buying them. I'll sell a few. Yeah, thanks so much, John. I sell a few, but I'm not. I'm not really into flipping cars. Yeah. What the hell is Darren? What the fuck are you on about, man? Like. Anyway, if that's the kind of comments, get it together. And then have try fives. Yeah, I don't know. I saw Alex at the T races. He was driving a Volkswagen at that point, and he had it on there on display. And I think he has a Ferrari 330, which is a very special car. Well, thank you so much, Tim. That's very kind of you, buddy. I don't know what to say. That's just, very, very generous, you guys. We're just hanging out. So if you have any questions, fire away. Yeah. Just joking. Or you've heard all the jokes. All right. Yeah. Flipping cars. Yeah, flipping cars is Dean's baby. I don't have. I just don't find that there's enough money in it to waste my time, and I tend to only buy cars that I like anyway. And then if I have the room for them, I'm happy to hold on to them. So, that's, yeah. I mean, there are probably some cars I should sell, and there's a couple cars I would sell, but it's just trying to sell them. And you know how it is. Anybody sold a bunch of cars, you try to get somebody here on time, and then you try to, and then they'll waste your afternoon. And these cars, a lot of them are not worth a bunch of money. So I just don't have an afternoon to spend to try and get $700 off of somebody. I would rather just have it sit there. Don't care. Sometimes the people, like, I get people roll into my yard and they're like, "Do you sell cars?" I'm like, "Well, where's your trailer?" "I don't have one." "I mean, how much money you got on you?" "None." Like, well, then I guess I don't sell cars. And it's in 20 years of living here, of all the people that have pulled into my yard and asked me to buy cars, not a single one of them has ever bought a car. They're just they're just there to waste your time. So I don't go very hard about selling cars. I guess, I mean, I've sold a few. I sold that very nice yellow Ambassador. Selling decent cars, I don't mind, because it's worth an afternoon of your time if a guy's going to write you a check for $10,000. That's worth, now we'll make it work. We'll arrange a time and a place. And I sold that nice big beige Mr. Leahy style Chrysler that I had. And that guy, he showed up on time and he paid, we had a little dickering and he paid. But that was, I think but that wasn't the $500 stuff. I just can't be bothered with. So all the yard cars and stuff, I'd just as soon give them to Clayton. If they're not good enough for this place, then I give them to Clayton, and then I get a little bit of parking back, and I don't waste my weekend waiting for somebody who's going to get lost and show up and then ask his wife. I had one guy waste my whole afternoon, and then we agreed on a price, and then he said he was going to ask his wife, and what he really wanted me to do was store the car for free for winter. And so I don't know. You guys know, anybody who's on this, you guys have tried to sell cars, and it's a pain in the ass. And Dean, he puts up with it, and I'm like, dude, are you actually going to waste your only day off sitting out at the junkyard there so some guy can come and offer you $300 on a car that you only want $700 for, but he doesn't have $700, so he's going to offer you $300? I don't know. I'd just as soon stay home or hang out with my friends, right? Time wasters, right? Exactly. Dan knows. You've sold a few cars, and when you gave your car away, that was really cool, and B, you saved yourself multiple weekends of waiting around for people, and I was like, that was a good idea. So John asking about Frankers. Oh, her eye's great. Thank you, John. Yeah. We took her to the vet, and she got some eye drops, and she was Yelp review. Cool. Guy was rude, not helpful when I was waiting to not sell the car. That's possible. No, I don't. I actually had a guy come in here, two guys. They showed up in a PT Cruiser, strike one, and they said, "Are any of these cars for sale?" And I said, "No, I don't really sell cars." And then they said, "What if we made you an offer you couldn't refuse?" And then I thought, okay, I had two cars that I was actually willing to sell. So I showed them it was the 55 Dodges, 55 Dodge Custom Royal two-door hardtops, really special cars, needing restoration. But there's the one, there's the parts car. I combine them both, make one really good car. And his offer that I couldn't refuse was $400 for both cars. I mean, I didn't even answer him. I just walked away and left those two idiots standing in the middle of the yard. So that's how it goes. I don't know. Maybe you guys have better luck than I do, but I hate selling cars. Obviously I could probably learn to do a little more of it. Honestly, I've got some cars I would sell, but I totally get why I think selling cars is hard. Try selling cars when you have a YouTube channel. Yeah. Well, and Kyle has a good idea too, is build the car and sell it before you even put it on YouTube, so that but I don't know. Like, I don't, I guess part of the thing is I try not to buy cars that I would sell. Like every car I buy, I kind of have a purpose for it, or I have so little purpose for it. And also, I'm like, it's not that I have a lot of money, but like if I ever find myself in a situation where I need $700 that bad, then that means that I'm doing something else wrong, like, so all these junkers that sit in my yard, well, other people buy you could buy anything. You could buy watches or paintings or whatever, and I just buy what makes me happy. And they make I think that they make a nice set for the show, and I kind of treat them as that. Their way. If I had a show that I did indoors, I would like nice furniture that made me happy for my show. And obviously, that's not the situation here. I don't really care about furniture, but the cars are kind of the set decorations, and so they're more important to me and meaningful to me as that than they are as vehicles in the sense of like trying to turn them for money. And even the ones that we get running, like honestly, how much more is it? Surprisingly, they are worth more running, but I don't really consider that. Like I'm not like, well, now it's running, so I can get $900 for it. Like who cares? Uh, Sometimes I'll sell a nice car. Like I sold that nice Ambassador because I had to finance my T-shirt, the very first T-shirt we did with the Fraser on the front. Well, I had to do all that out of pocket, and I didn't have any money at all to do that, so I had to sell the Ambassador for that. And luckily, I knew a gentleman who had expressed some interest in it, and he was a serious guy. And we walked around the car for 5 minutes, and he wrote me the check, and he said, "When the snow melts, drive it over to my house." And that's how it should be. I mean, if that's how we're going to sell cars, right on. But usually, it's wife askers and picture takers and tire kickers and casual roller inners, and none of them. So I sell very few cars. Yeah, I don't know. That's a long-winded answer. Let's see if there's any other interesting questions. Mike asked where the Fargo went. Another case where a gentleman was looking for that exact car, and my friend phoned me and said, "My friend is looking for this exact vehicle that you have." And he came over, looked at it for 5 minutes. I gave him a price. They pulled out the money. Truck was gone. So that's another one I sold. What else did I sell? I don't sell a ton, but that one went. If I think of another car I sold, but that is how I'll sell them. Like if it's painless and sensible and direct, and there's like $500 cars are just. I would rather just give them away to just clean up some space. So part of the fun now, if we can manage the YouTube channel a little better, is it's more fun, certainly more fun to work on cars that cost. Trouble with $500 cars is you end up doing $60,000 worth of work to them. But if you spend $5,000, you only got to do $5,000 worth of work to get the same result. So in the end, recognizing the false economy of buying absolute basket cases hasn't really sunk in yet, but it's easy to say, buy better cars. But, there is an opportunity now, if I were to sell, and I'm kind of, I think right now I have 11 cars plated. So I could say to myself, well, you could sell a few and then buy one nicer one. And if I didn't have the room, that's definitely what I would do. Or I would collect motorcycles like Andy does. That's a smarter way to go too, because you can put the same amount of money in a much smaller space. But I just love cars so much. I'm just a car junkie. I'm just an absolute basket case. That's all I think about: cars, cars, cars. So I just have to keep. Buying cars. Sorry, I'm just with. When and why did you retire from working in a commercial shop? Oh, I didn't really retire. When I quit drinking, I went back to school to get a kind of a clean-ish desk job so that I could get a mortgage so that I could buy a place. Up until then, I was working at my boss Al's shop, and I still regard him as my boss, and I still talk to him on the phone, and Al is awesome. He's been on the show a few times. And so that's the last professional shop I worked at. After I'd had a job doing desk work for a year or two, I couldn't take it anymore, so I quit, and I just was working in my barn, doing kind of last chance saloon kind of body work for many, many years, and then kind of gradually parlayed that into the YouTube channel until the point where the channel started to be self-supporting. And then at a certain point, it just allowed me to do more work for my own cars. And that was the original goal, was more work on your own cars, less work on customer cars. And so now we're at the point where Laura's car,
and I don't regard that as a customer car. The last, you know, and even when I was doing all customer cars, it was still a lot of friends and family, especially the big stuff. I wouldn't take on big jobs for people I didn't know. I did a lot of scratch and dent bullshit just to pay the bills, like from the year 2001 when I bought this place till whatever. I would do just dented Hyundai bullshit, and I was happy to do it. It paid the bills and kept the lights on and whatever. So, but yeah, never. The last real shop I worked at was Al's, and we had a great time. I really liked working. It was really the only guy I ever worked for. Where I learned a ton from. I have tremendous respect for Alan and the stuff that he showed me. I learned more from him in the year or two that I worked there than I had my entire life up to that point about working on cars. And he just understood cars in a very holistic way and body work at a very, very high level that you only get from decades and decades of doing it every day. And he could just, and you guys watch the video of him fixing that smashed Continental for Jim. I mean, there's hardly any editing in that. Like when he hang those gauges on it when it's done and it was perfect, that was literally the first pull. Like that's how much experience he had. So the amount of stuff that I was able to learn from him, I'll never, never regret the time spent working there. I wouldn't have been able to do the Fury splice or any of the massive. I used to do a lot of heavy collision stuff, even just doing it here. I would not have been able to do that stuff if I hadn't worked for Alan. So, that I still have a tremendous respect for Alan and zero regrets about the time I spent working there. And really, he was really like I never had a lot of jobs. And so that was the only one I really really very lucky to work there with somebody, and we worked very well together because he was so expert at the heavy stuff, and I was very good at the details and making getting the finer work, because I think Al, after decades of it, he was kind of losing his patience with all the fussy bullshit. So he was happy to have somebody take over when the heavy stuff was done, because I think after the really hard stuff was done, he was just bored. He's like, I don't want to do all this bullshit. And he had me to do that, and I would take it from there right through to paint. And so the two of us together, we were really very productive and very good relationship, and one that I still honor to this day. And I still, whenever I get a chance, or if we got something that's a hard hit, I can't wait to go hang out with Al and have some laughs. He's one of the funniest people I've ever known. And taught me a lot, not just about cars, but about how to make people feel comfortable. And because I'm very shy and very awkward, and watching Al interact with people and customers and how he can put people at ease and how he can be casual yet professional with people. And I just learned so much. And I just have a tremendous amount of respect for Alan. So that's another long-winded one. Sorry, guys. Irish Auto. Hope Jonathan's answering a different question. Why don't we have a concert with the band? Well, actually thinking about it, I've been considering it for a while. I think the main reason right now is that I don't have the technology, like the bandwidth, to get it so that it would be, because I'm so crap with all the gadgetry that it would have to be absolutely hammer reliable, and then I would consider it. I think it would be a really fun way to do a New Year's Eve rock and roll party with the boys. I would be right into it. But the other thing is that it would have to be very rehearsed. It would have to be very, I don't want to go out there and make a mess of it. Like I didn't, even just talking in front of 500 people is nerve wracking, but to go up there and grab your guitar and like, the thing is, YouTube is full of highly competent musicians, and some of whom I subscribe to and watch, and I'm not one of them.
not even close. So it's just, it's really fun. Like, I really like it for fun, but to go up there, I would hate for anybody to tune in and think that we actually thought that we were being proper musicians. But then when you start putting yourself on a stage and turning on cameras, well, now you're acting like a musician, but you would only be acting. And so for that to not be understood would be catastrophic, I think. So yeah, I'm very careful about that. It doesn't mean it'll never happen. It never happened, but it's not currently on the to-do list. We're trying to get the bands together for Halloween. I'd like to. We usually have a pretty big Halloween party here up in the bar, and everybody dresses up, and we get the bands up there, and we have a pretty good time. So probably be trying to pull that together this year, and so. But everybody's very busy. Like, everybody's so busy. It's not just me. Like, all the guys. Like, none of us are musicians. Everybody's got kids. Everybody's got real jobs and stuff. Like, I'm the only one who's. It's easy for me. I live here and I don't have a job per se. I don't have any dependents, and so it's easy for me to just say, "Hey guys, come over and let's just jam out some songs." But everybody else, it's difficult for them. Like, I know it all. I like that it appears to be a very casual and friendly thing, because it is. But when those guys are not here, it's not like they're sitting around. Like, everybody involved that I know is extremely busy and generally very successful, and they do indulge me to come over here and hang out. So Tony has a good question. Does my upholstery machine have a walking foot? Yes, it is a Singer 211 industrial with a walking foot, and I just love it. It was probably the best $200 I ever spent. That thing, yeah, I made tire straps with it the other day, because I didn't, you guys, anybody who tows knows that you got those straps that you put over top of the tire, and I have a car dolly that we fixed up, and I had one, but I only had one. I don't know what happened to the other one. I used to have two, but I lose everything. So I took one of my regular straps and I cut it all up and I sewed it together on my sewing machine, and it worked perfect. The thing is just so handy. I would like to do more upholstery, but it doesn't really move the mail on the YouTube part of things. So, I mean, and I get it. Like, it's not really that exciting to watch a guy. So, but it is. I find it tremendously satisfying, almost as much as paint and body work, to put your interior in and be like, wow. I mean, that looked really bad, and now it looks less bad. Good for me, So I do get a lot of satisfaction. Maybe it's just because I haven't done much of it, and it's still a novel thing, and it's very, it's quiet. There's no compressor hammering away, and there's no sparks in your eyes. You can just be like, doop, 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 and so I really find the upholstery to be and it's great in the winter. You have a little fire in your living room. I just set the thing right up in the middle of my living room. It's so big, and so I put a big table up, and I just set the old sewing machine up there, because I live alone, so who cares? And so yeah, walking foot machine, absolutely. Singer 211, about 1955. Not a finesse machine. Like, it doesn't even have reverse. Like, it is a real. Yeah, I think it's probably come out of a tent and awning or jeans factory. There used to be Great Western Garment, had a big factory in Edmonton back when people used to make things in these countries. And I suspect it came from one of those factories. Has a lot of miles on it. A lot of, like, the paint on those things is incredibly tough, and to see the paint burned off is really something. Oh, who's had $10? Tim Eklund. Thank you so much, buddy. Sorry, guys, and feel free to remind me when I mess this up. Any chance? Oh, well, that's very kind. Your channel encouraged me to get a 65 Tempest 4-door with the engine out as a project. That's great. That is a very cool car. Well, that's really nice of you to say, Tim. Thanks so much, buddy, and thanks for the donation. Hey, Frankers, don't go anywhere. Come here. Get up. I don't want Frankers making a bunch of noise in the background. Yeah, thanks so much, buddy. And you have to do original music. Well, sorry. Oh, I mean for the show. Well, I don't know. The thing with all the music I write for the show is that it's written for the show. Like, none of these pieces that I make for the show
are intended to be standalone things. They're just intended as background noise for whatever is visually happening. So when I write music for the show, I'm really just more concerned with how long is it. Like, is it 31 seconds? Because that's how much not. And so to take those 31 or 1 minute long things and try to turn them into a finished piece, well, they don't have, there's a lot of stuff in a song that is not there, and a lot of it is just literally one take stuff. With the Apple, I have another computer in that closet there with a little, like, just a dime store keyboard that I use to play all the horns and strings and stuff. I don't actually have a violin for all that. Big surprise. So so there sorry. Oh, there we go. Somebody just asked that. Did I create the outro? Yeah, speaking of background noise, that is the name of that song, actually. The one that plays over the credits is actually called Background Noise. But yeah, I decided years ago, when they started having these copyright kind of situations on YouTube, that I would not use any of their music, because, and I was right, because stuff that is free now to use 2 years from now, they're going to be like, oh, well, we changed our mind. And I thought, they're not going to, anything that goes on the channel is going to be 100% original content, including the music, for better or worse. I just wanted to do everything myself. So if the music is not great, it's whatever. It's because I just wanted to do all of it myself. So it's all my own music, and I'll film it and I'll edit it and I'll do the work on the cars and I'll do everything myself, and just hope for the best. So, and doing the music is something I really like. Like, I've never thought there's really no other, I can't think of another situation in my life where I ever would have found a good reason to sit down and write goofy instrumental music clips. So the YouTube thing has been really the only avenue for that ever for me. So it's been just a weird bonus to the whole thing. And I mean, I hadn't played piano or keyboard since I was like 11 or something years old, and then so I kind of had to remember how to do all that stuff, and I was like, well, this is kind of fun. I'm kind of glad that I did that. So that's how the music situation came about. At first it was make sure that we're not gonna put ourselves in a situation where YouTube can arbitrarily decide that you're no longer, that is now a copyright infringement. And like they did with us playing covers at the end of the videos, I really thought that was a fun little thing to do. And then somebody claimed one of my videos. So 100 hours of work to make the video. And because I played a cover, 30 seconds of a cover at the end of it, somebody who wasn't, it's not like the person who wrote that song claimed it. It was like, it was just a scam. But it doesn't matter. By the time you get the scam, by the time you appeal it and get it all sorted out, you didn't get paid for that video, because everybody who's going to watch it watches it in the first 24 hours. So, and it's not like I'm only about the money with this, but if somebody's just going to steal all your work for 30 seconds at the end of an hour-long video, I just can't take the chance. It's just not worth it, because it's not a channel about me and my friends playing guitar. I just thought that was a fun thing to put in at the end. And so I was kind of sad about that, but maybe, I don't know. YouTube, the thing with YouTube is I've been doing it for 13 and a half years. And when I started doing YouTube, it was, you could do whatever you wanted. It was it was awesome. It was awesome. There was all kinds of crazy stuff on there. I used to watch the channels where guys would load up bongs and do just huge bong rips, and we'd laugh. These guys would gag, and they'd smoke huge amounts of pot, and it was super funny. The guy would have 100,000 subscribers, and then over the years, they just cut all of that out of it. And now what have you got? Now YouTube it's corporate bullshit. And so, I mean, I've really tried not to let that influence what I'm doing, because when I started, I really enjoyed that. Hey, here's me and my friends, and we're gonna get stoned and work on our cars, and I still, and now, even though that's all massively frowned upon, I don't care, like I don't have a very big audience on here anyway, but I think the audience that I have is the audience. I couldn't ask for, a better one. So I don't know, more long answers. Sorry guys, I don't even know where I am now. Oh my God, somebody sent me money. Thank you so much, Darren. It's very kind of you. Wow. And and Mike shot sent me $20. Best content on YouTube. Well, you're very kind bullshitter, Mike. Thanks, buddy. Wish you were in Texas. Would show you around the 49 and 62 Fleetwoods. Oh man, that's awesome. Well, I think we probably get along just fine, Mike. That's very kind of you, buddy. I always did want to go to Texas. We used to talk about when we were kids, because Texas, the legend of Texas was, and I think, there's a lot of attitude. I think people in Alberta and Texas would probably get along pretty good. So I've got all the time in the world for Texas. And I think a lot of it was watching the ZZ Top videos, like my beard has nothing to do with that. I won't get into my reasoning for it, but I just loved that whole, like, how cool everything was, and guys were cool. They had guitars. I was like, man, that's so cool. And I mean, when I'm seeing this stuff, I'm like 13-year-old spelling bee kid with the ears that stick out and big ugly glasses, and like, I was pretty, you wouldn't know. Yes, you would. Anyway, so yeah, Texas, we used to, like, I always just would fantasize about how cool things were in Texas and how cool it would be to go. So of course, never made it. I haven't left the yard in 3 years. So there's Andrea Mills. Hugs and kisses for Frankers. Well, thank you so much, Andrea. Frankers, did you hear that? Frankers says thank you. And Philosoph needs a name for addresses, first and last. Well, Jonathan just sent me something that said Scott, so it'll get there. If they got the address, they don't care about that. Any light hit jobs for the neighbors? And will Al rust proof his Granada? I don't know. I think he certainly has polished it all up. And I haven't done any light hit job. Oh, I did. I did my neighbor Mel back. No, his granddaughter smashed her Volvo last year, and we put a front clip on it, but I didn't really film it. Yeah, I didn't film that one. I think I was just too busy doing other stuff and didn't film it. So, yeah. Oh, sorry, guys. I'm trying to read and talk at the same time. I'm just crap at this. All the good channels, they have somebody ask some questions. So I'm just kind of trying to keep it together here. Thank you guys so much. The outro played at your funeral. Wow, that's awesome. I don't know if I mean, right on. I decided I wanted Hot for Teacher played at my funeral. I just want the most inappropriate music. And just everybody's sad and they're sitting around, and then the fucking that's what I want. I want Hot for Teacher. Do I still have the Saab? No, I sold that years ago, Andy. Will I ever race a Model T? No plans to right now. If I was going to race anything at the Model T races, I would finish my Roadster there. Matt and I had talked about it and have a little exhibition class of kind of crazy race car stuff. But I will not. I'll tell you what, if the pieces came along, I'd consider it because it sure looks like fun. But I just have so much going on, and I keep buying more crap. And
Hope DJ Crown Vic likes the song for Dean's Greasy Flips. Thank you so much. That's actually my favorite too, I have to say. I don't like to be like, I like my song, but Dean and I sat in here and I was like, okay, we need something that's like tacky and goofy and kind of fun and like, like optimistic, like, yeah. And so, and I came up with the slap bass line, and then the rest of it's just keyboard horns and stuff. And we laughed, and I was like, check this out, eh? And I'd play it. And then I'd put the headphones on Dean and I'd be like playing the horns and shit. And we'd laugh. And then, yeah, I just got it to where it was. And I was like, man, there's a lot of shit going on there. And it's like, and then we just looped it. And I think it just loops 3 or 4 times. And yeah, thanks. I'm glad you like it. It's the favorite thing that I've ever written for the show. I think it just makes me laugh. It's so goofy and funny. And I just remember me and Dean sitting here. We just wrote it right in the chair there. We had a blast. So, and we do a performance on YouTube cover. They're not messing around. Yeah, exactly. Right. Original music is the safest. Yeah, and Randall writes all his own music, and that's a great idea. And Randall's actually one of a tiny number of non-music channels that I've ever seen where he writes his own music, and I just think that's terrific, and it's one of my favorite things about his show. So if you guys aren't already subscribed, and I'm assuming you are, but if you're not, Randall is he's the best. So go watch it. So oh, Louis, is my Volvo 940 going? Oh, that's a good idea. So no, it's not. The rough work is done. It's just every time I go to work on it, something else happens. And the trouble, the YouTube is a double-edged sword in the sense that on one hand, it allows me to work on my own cars. But on the other hand, it kind of discourages you from working on cars that other people don't find interesting. So, and I push that enough with the French cars and stuff. And I know that there's just not a lot of the thing with the weird cars and some of that stuff, even though I'm really a fan of it, is that it's not relatable. And I think that one of the huge things that people really like when they watch a show about cars is they want to look at it. They want to watch a show about a car that they can relate to. And obtuse French cars, like nobody remembers their buddy having an SM when they were in high school and going out and ripping donuts in it. It just, unless your friend's dad was very wealthy or whatever, it's just not a relatable car. And I totally get that. I mean, the cars that I relate to are like the 72 Plymouth station wagon. Like those are the cars I remember from being a kid. Those are the cars we went to swimming lessons in. Just the big, goofy Plymouths and Ford sedans, and so that, I mean, I understand that that's relatable to me as well. But the but I guess the thing is that I have that part of my life quite filled up. Like I've got 6 of those with plates on them or whatever. So, and over the years, like with so many things, I'm not saying that my taste got better but they did change. I guess I've read so much about that American cars from 1940 to 1970, kind of, that I was just so immersed in that for so many years that I kind of poked my head up above the wall there, and I was like, look at all these other cars I haven't even seen yet. And then I kind of went out and I was like, wow, there's so many other amazing cars as well. And and we do give each other a hard time. Like I take a certain amount of shit from my friends for some of the weirdo cars I have, but I kind of tell them, well, like, how many copies of more or less the same car do you need? Like I've got, I think like I have a lot of friends who are into the Mopars and I love all that stuff. Don't get me wrong. I got half a dozen of them with plates on them that I just think are awesome. I love that stuff. But I also realize there's a lot more out there. And so But the thing is, especially when the audience for this show is literally 75% Americans and 10 to 15% Canadians. Well, certainly out here in Western Canada, I mean, nobody's parents drove a Peugeot, or at least not in my neighborhood. Like where I grew up, the street I grew up on, it was just Ford Custom 500s and Biscaynes and Fury ones and station wagons and F100s, and that was just blocks, and Volkswagens. Of course, that was the only imported car. You never saw Toyotas. You sure didn't see Renaults, and there was one guy in a town of 30,000 people who had a Citroen DS, and my brother Andy and I, we used to laugh. We would see the Citroen and we'd be like, what an idiot, who would buy one of those things? They're so ugly. Oh God, we'd make puking sounds. And now all these years later, of course, the guy driving it is me. And I often wonder if kids see my car and they're just gagging and making barf sounds to each other in their parents' car. And I hope they are. I mean, at least it means that they notice and that it means something. And because we just wanted Chargers with huge tires on the back, and and there's nothing wrong with that. But so balancing the YouTube with from what I want to do and what makes for a productive or a sustainable YouTube show. And I'd like to pretend that I never care about how many views or something it gets, but excuse me, it's almost, because if you have a YouTube channel, there's this dashboard, they call it, that you open up and it's, there it is. It's like, you failed, or you succeeded, and then you failed here, but this is not too bad. And then eventually you kind of be like, okay, well, I see what's happening here. And even though you pretend or you try not to care, you still end up, you have to put some weight on that, because if you can get people to watch your show, then they'll come back. And I've even got very kind letters from people who say, I used to hate all these stupid French cars that you have, but after I watched you, and I try not, and I think there's a problem that some of these fancier or more esoteric car communities, they have a somewhat of a, it can feel elitist, and I really try to kind of avoid that. And I like to think of all my cars are kind of just, they're like your friends. It's like they're all still your friends. Some of them are weirder than others, but it's not like these cars can't be. It's okay to have them all. It's okay to have weird French cars and a Dodge diesel truck and a Plymouth station wagon. They're not incompatible. They're just different. It's like if you can have different kinds of books and you can have different kinds of food in your fridge. Not that I do. I mean, I only have food that makes tacos. That's it. So anyway, I don't even remember what I was talking about. Jesus, guys, I'm sorry. I'm just, do you hear my music on other channels? Well, I hope not. If you don't copyright your own music, well, it's true. I mean, Uncle Tony was on tonight. Oh, cool. I thought he usually went on Wednesdays. Sorry, guys, I'm way behind again. Did you find the missing hubcap from the Dodge? No, we never did, but we did find, Dean found a pretty decent example of the same hubcap. So there. Well, thank you, guys. Would you consider making toques to sell for the channel? I did make some, but it took a long time to sell them, and we have such a small online store that we can't. Like, if you put hats in there for sale, then that means that I can't put like stickers in there. Well, if stickers sell more than hats, then when the hats sell out, that's it. We'll just put stickers there. So, I mean, I really try to keep this whole thing as manageable as possible, because I see a lot of, if I had like 50 different shirts for sale and all this stuff, well, it gets a little unmanageable. I really don't have the time to babysit such a monstrous amount of stuff. So I kind of,
I kind of just try to keep it very simple, and I've said before, there's only so much goodwill out there for what you're doing, and if if you're just constantly, essentially you would front load like they do in the car industry, or what they've done recently. They just front loaded the shit out of their sales by, you know, with the cash for clunkers, and the clunkers, 3-year-old perfectly good cars, clunkers blow them up. You know, you're just taking. So if I were to try and really market the hell out of everything I did, and really, there's only a certain amount of goodwill and support for what you're doing, and so you can either try and take it all on the first day, or you can just, and there's people who probably stuff. A lot of people, I think, go to our store and they buy a sticker because they're like, "Hey, I want to support this show." Buy a sticker. If they went there and all there was, you know, stickers and whatever, they'd buy a sticker. If you went there and all there was pencils that had a little Franker head on top, then they'd buy that. So I'm not really concentrating too much on what goes in the store. Is just kind of, I really like to I like doing the t-shirts. We have fun designing them. The calendar is a new one for me. It's a gigantic amount of work. I thought it would be easy, but just because I have to, there's no existing infrastructure. I have to create this entire system that's going to get these calendars to people in good condition. So, plus t-shirts are very durable. They're easy to mail. You can bend them in half. You can twist them up, and they still arrive in perfect condition. The calendars are a real problem because they're going to be, they have to maintain their structure. And that's, I mean, anybody ever tried to mail anything and have it show up in good condition? It's very, very difficult. Oh, thank you so much. Blind Bat G34, $9.99, couple of bucks for darts and dope. Fantastic, man. It's very kind. We are, well, again, that's very, very kind of you to help keep us going here with I think I mentioned earlier that tonight's regularly scheduled video was yet again the victim of the audio. So I literally have to take my camera apart and try and figure out how. So I was just out of time and very frustrated. So it's very kind of you guys to stop in and shoot the shit. And let's see. Is the calendar going to be a traditional garage calendar, i.e., not safe for work? No, I think it'd be very safe for work, unless they don't let you put pictures of poodles up at work. But no, I didn't. Yeah, but it's not a traditional calendar in the sense that it's got rusty phrasers and that type of thing. So it's a Culver Motors calendar more so than a garage calendar, I guess. So do you have my favorites? Oh, thank you guys for stopping. The weed tonight, hence the rambling. No, I don't smoke as much as people think I do. I think that's something that is I don't know. That's not conducive to productivity, and I like to smoke weed when everything is done, and everything is never done. So I wouldn't. I don't know. Maybe we have. No, I don't anyway. Very much anymore. It's just counterproductive. But not that I don't enjoy it when I do, but I have to be very careful about how I manage my time now. And I stay up like 18, 20 hours a day, and you can't be sleepy and you can't be making mistakes. It's just not possible. The address, the end of Dean's Greasy Flips, the actual address. Kind of. It's kind of an address, but I didn't really think it was that important to make sure that everybody could find it, because it's not Dean's property. He rents some space there. So I was like,
it's all right if people can't actually find it because A, it's not an actual business. B, Dean doesn't own it. C, it's locked. D, there's other people that rent there. So I was quite happy that we had kind of a rough idea. It's kind of near 1/5 or, but that's that's good enough, I guess. Yeah. Smoking when you're done for the day. The other channel. Okay. Yeah. Oh, Rolling Heavy Magazine. Is that really Rolling Heavy Magazine? Like, man, that's serious. You guys are, that's wicked, man. Did you guys ever get a picture of the van we did? Kyle would be absolutely, Kyle, every shirt that Kyle, you guys check it out. You check it out. Kyle is almost always wearing Rolling Heavy Magazine. Kyle worships you guys. He has like all your shirts. I wish Kyle was here. He would. Anyway, you guys, Rolling Heavy, awesome, you guys. Wow. Sorry guys, I'm trying to read some questions. Pat McLean wearing his t-shirt. Thanks so much, Pat. I'll just roll up here and see if I missed anything. How's the boogie van? Good question. Ashley's got it almost finished. The interior guy has been slow, but he's very, very good. This guy, he's retired and he used to do vans back in the 70s and 80s. And Ashley has sent, I haven't showed you guys any preview pictures, but we're kind of waiting. I really hope it's done before the snow flies because the boogie van, it's also a big picture in the calendar. The boogie van interior is just, it is epic. So yeah, like there's diamonds, there's mirrors, there's swivelly things. It's going to be awesome. So I'm really hoping you can get it done, but I'm not showing any previews of it because I want it to be like a really, I want it to really, really be something spectacular when he brings it over. So we never even really did a proper video of that van when it's finished. So I was kind of hoping that the interior will be finished before fall, and I'd like to do a full-on like wicked production video. Well, wicked by our standards, like I'd like to do a good video of the van, and I'd like to show it out under the street lights and get some cruising shots, and make some more boogie van music, and he's got the new engine in there, and I'd like to do a good, and then we'll maybe re-release our boogie van shirt. So, but I have no control over when it gets done. That sorry, I just saw Jonathan says you have an Austin London taxi cab. Doesn't get any nerdier than that. That's pretty nerdy. That must may raise a few eyebrows in your neck of the woods. It probably looks very lost. That is funny because from what I can gather from Jonathan's videos, he lives in a pretty rural area. And I think a London taxi would look absolutely hilarious. Like it had just come out of some weird time warp. Or aliens had landed and they thought that's what people drove and they were trying to blend in. That's an amazing car. I've only ever seen one. I don't know how. I imagine there's quite a story to how he ended up with that. Get a lot of jokes from my fleet of Crown Vic long wheels retired New York cabs. That's awesome. We had a 59 Renault that caught on fire. Yes, I guess they will do that. The old rear engine ones. Yeah, I guess things will happen. Baculao 63. Good morning from the Philippines. Well, fantastic. It's a sad bastard. I love your channel. I got a CB750 like yours. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Have I ever owned a 64 Galaxy XL? No, I have not. Dean has. I think he owns one right now. Dean's first car was a 64 XL. There used to be a few in town. Those were really good cars. I love 64 XLs. I think they're my last really favorite Ford. They're just, those things are tanks.
when I was a kid in the mid 80s, there was still half a dozen of them running around as 20-year-old daily drivers. People were just still driving them to work and stuff. And this part of the world's hard on cars. And man, they weren't even particularly rare, even at 20 years old, because they were just so goddamn tough. Such a great car. I've never owned one, but if the right one came along, yeah, I mean, I sure like them anyway. The trying to get through any of the questions here. How's Frankers? Oh, she's good. She's good. Yeah, where is she? Oh, she's sitting right there. I think she's probably wondering why I'm not feeding her dinner and I'm just talking to this box. Let's see. Calendar idea was brilliant. Well, thank you. I'm hoping, like I say, the calendar should be ready to go by maybe even by this Saturday's video. I might be able to have some previews. There's just so I just want to be so careful, and I don't want to start taking orders until I literally have it in my hand. Like, I want to make sure that everything is going to be fine, because it's when we did the first t-shirts, it was kind of the same thing. I was like, I knew that I was making a big commitment. If you take people's money, you deliver. So I'm going to do our very best to get you guys exactly what we show. But so far so good. I mean, I wanted to print it locally, so I literally drive to the place where they print them, and I'm talking to the person that prints in person, and I'm like, this is what I want. And we're grabbing the different types of paper, and I'm like, that's the paper we want. Here's the cover we want. That's the thing. So I know exactly what I should be getting, and that way I can confidently take people's money and say, this is what you're going to get, and it's going to be good. And that's most important to me. I take that all very seriously. So that's how that's going. Let's see if we missed any questions. This is for Scott Daner. YouTubers in the chat. My son's 9. Several friends keep hounding me to start a YouTube channel. I'm on the fence about it. Any suggestions? I don't really know what to say. I guess I would say go for it, because it costs nothing. It costs nothing to start it. If you're trying to make money at it, I would refer you to somebody who does, which is not me. I would, but if you want to do it for fun, sure. I mean, that's why I started. I figured the buy-in is almost nothing. Like, you can most people do them on their phones now. I still use actual cameras, but the buy-in is zilch. So it costs, if you do it and you put up a couple videos and you don't like it, who cares? It costs you nothing. That's my suggestion. Try it. Excuse me. It's like, when you see guys like Dan and guys who are like really making a go of it, like, I think what you see on the screen probably belies the gigantic amount of work it is to actually make a go of it. And I like to pretend that I'm not busy. I really actually try not to be busy. But then I think, well, here's the things I want to do. And if you're going to do all these things and you just happen to end up being busy, well, then I guess you're busy, like it or not. And I do, for somebody who struggles with trying to be not busy, I end up, like, I shake my head at myself a lot. I'm like, what happened to not being busy? Like, what's all these 20-hour days? But when I decided I wanted to do it, and I wanted to do something that I was proud of, and I guess that's the difference. I can look at the stuff that I've done on YouTube, and I can say, not all of it, but there's certain things that I've done, like the weekly videos. Certainly in the last 5 years, I've really made an effort to make something that I can go back and watch and be like, that still makes me laugh. I still, you know, I think that was something that if somebody said, "Hey, was this you?" I'd say yes. So yeah, I don't know. It's real easy to do it for laughs and very very hard to do it for a living. That's all I would say. What's my main going to town ride? Good question. I have 10 cars plated right now. If I'm just ripping to do errands and stuff, like if I got to go into the city and I got to do traffic and bullshit, I take the Renault. It's the only thing that I can drive that makes me smile when I'm in traffic. It's been very, very reliable. I like it. It's fun. It's zippy and you can park it anywhere. If I'm going to get groceries and it's only 5 miles into town there, town is not the city. The city is like Edmonton. Town is Sherwood Park where my folks live. That's kind of a little suburb. And I'll take anything. I'll take the Fraser. I still drive the Fraser a lot. I drive the Citroen wagon. I drive that a lot. So that's my three main bangers. I don't drive the truck unless I have to, unless it's for truck stuff. And I've been using the 37 Chev for errands. I like driving that car, and it's not so precious that it can't sit in a parking lot. The Fury, the Blue Fury, I don't drive really very much. The Yellow Fury, I drive a little bit. The Gold Fury, I hardly ever drive. Yeah, the truck and what else? What else we got out there? Yeah, I think that kind of covers it. Motorcycle, I'd like to drive more, but it doesn't have bags on it. So if I'm buying anything bigger than a sandwich, I can't really take the motorcycle. So yeah, that's kind of the main beaters are the R5, the DS wagon, and the Fraser. Still, come here, come on. Frankers is very mad at me, you guys. I might have to just close her down here. Tell you what, we'll go till 9, and then I really have to. I've got still 8 hours of editing just so that I can wake up tomorrow and do 20. Anyhow, let's see what other questions are. Fraggers is just banging around in there. So fix the red Ford pickup. Yeah, it's on the list. Okay, come here. Come on. Sorry, you guys. Frankers is just tearing the place apart. Come on in. Come here. Just a second. Sorry, guys. She's just absolutely going crazy. Come here, Frankers. Here, eat your dinner then. Come here. What a good girl. There you go. Sorry about that. Frankers is just... You guys have no idea how loud she gets when she wants supper time. Like, she'll go in there, she'll just smash all the dishes onto the floor, and like she's just a terrorist. Hey, there you go. She's okay now. Would I trust someone to do the editing? No, definitely not. So the editing is the only way that I make sure that the show is perceived the way I want it to be. And I know the thing with the way we do the show is because it's not scripted and it's not professional, is that I just turn the camera on and I just film the shit out of everything and I swing it around. And to put people at ease, you can't be like, hey, say something funny. So you end up having so much material that you're not using that for whatever reason doesn't suit what you're trying to do. So I have to watch all. That's one of the reasons why it takes me so long to edit the show, is because I start with a gigantic amount of raw material and then I pick the parts. Basically, I just pick what I think is funny. If nobody else thinks it's funny, I don't care, but I just pick what I think is funny. That's all. That's the only thing that goes in. And if it's if it's funny, but it doesn't really, I don't care. Like if it's funny, I try to put the funny stuff. I try to edit for what I think is funny. And if, sometimes you have to have enough of continuity and enough narrative that there's something happening, because otherwise it just, I don't know. I don't even know what I would do. I have to have something. So I just try to do it that way. But that means what I want, and if you see how they edit for TV and how they edit for conflict and how they edit I edit all that out. If I try not to edit my videos to make my friends look stupid, because they're not going to come over. They're not going to come over and they're not going to help me and they're not going to be part of the show if I edit them to look like they're vindictive, incompetent, and and you see how they do that on shows, is they edit for the conflict. But I never wanted to do that. I never liked that about shows like that. I find it all very uncomfortable. So I guess in order for the show to be something that I'm happy to do, I have to be the editor of it, and that's fine. And I mean, I don't look forward to editing, mostly because I know it's going to be a big job and I have to sit there. I don't even eat on Fridays because I can't get tired. It's a grind. It's a real grind. But I think, when it's all done and I watch it back for the, seventh or eighth time, and I really tighten it all up the very best I can, and I can look at it and it's satisfying when it's done. And I look at it and say that, okay, I'll put that out there. So the that is why, if it'd be different if it was a show where I was like, today we're going to rebuild carburetors, and I stood behind a desk and there was a camera pointed at me, and then it would go down to my hands and I'd fuck around or whatever. You could get anybody to edit that. Then I wouldn't care. I'd be like, okay, are we done? I'll be in my trailer, or I'll be whatever. But when it's just, hey guys, we bought some junkers, let's try and fix them, and just hang the camera up, and then, oh, look who showed up, and then, oh, Tom's here, and then, oh shit, something's on fire, and then, oh, look, let's go for a drive. Trying to make all that into something, you just can't leave that to somebody who doesn't have a vision for what the final product has to be. So that's kind of as much as I would love the extra 20 to 30 hours a week back, in as much as I signed up for it. I mean, and for whatever reason, there's a tiny number of you guys who are happy to watch that. So that's how it has to be. And I can't go from making hour-long videos to making 10-minute long videos without having a reason. Now, this weekend's on that note, this weekend's video will be, this Saturday video is going to be the V8 showdown, and then I'm rolling the credits. I may even go as far as putting all the background stuff, because that was all fun too, and that's much closer to the way the rest of the videos are, which is film what you're doing anyway, and kind of make it into to have some kind of coherent narrative. But this, because of the amount of work to make this showdown video, I kind of want it to be a standalone thing, because 2 years from now, it'll be still fun to watch that little, maybe it's going to be 15 minutes. It'll be fun to watch that without having to watch the 2 hours or the half an hour of sanding or tractors or whatever bullshit it was kind of putting around that. So I want that to be a standalone thing. And then we'll make, just like when we finished the Fury, that video was driving the Fury out of the garage and going for a drive, and the little musical montage thing. And then at the end of that, I'm like, well, that's all I wanted this video to say. And so I hope everybody's okay with that. I know some people look forward to and I may even put that out within a few days, or it might be next week's video or whatever. I'll tell you though, I'm fixing the GD camera before any of that happens. Let's see.
He's giving me any thought to uploading to Rumble? Yes, I have a Rumble account, but I haven't figured out how to link it to. Hey, be quiet, please. Come here. What are you barking at? Is somebody here? I don't think so. Yeah. Any suggestions for editing stuff on phone? No, I don't edit on the phone. I have a desktop with I use DaVinci Resolve, whatever, just the free download. It's very good. It's a little crashy and a little cantankerous, but mostly it works. And so I know I can't even imagine. I get cross-eyed just trying to phone somebody on those. So I'm sure you'll have no trouble. I mean, I know that there's plenty of software that would work just fine. So, flinging door donuts. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. So you guys are very kind to stop in today. Sorry, I'm trying to wheel through some of the commentos here. There's David Axe. David, patron for many years. And if you guys see some of the model cars that we get when we open the mail, very often those are from David's collection, which must be the eighth wonder of the world, because I haven't bought a car yet. David hasn't sent me a picture of the model. So thank you so much, David. I think, and I hope, and I'm looking forward to, I don't know if anybody remembers, David sent me a model of a 59 Fury hardtop that was painted black. It was an old model built by a kid probably 50 years ago. And I sent it to the same young man who did the model of the 58 and the 53 Ford and a few other cars that we have. And he has rebuilt the model as a very nice likeness of my 59 yellow car. So I'm looking forward to getting that on the show and using that for the animations. So are you taking applications for agents? No, I don't take applications. 90% of the guys on the show are people that I've known since forever. So that's just how it's worked out. All of the guys that I do the show with, either I knew them before I had the show, or I knew them, or I just met them through completely unrelated avenues, like Jim. Jim was an engineer who worked with Colin's best friend, and I always did Colin's friend's bodywork on his cars. And one day he's like, "Oh, my guy I work with is going to drop me off so you can paint my car." I was like, "Yeah, sure." And that's how I met Jim. So yeah, it has to be very organic. The idea of taking applications would make it. I mean, I know you're joking. I appreciate it very much, but the minute it starts to feel like a put together thing, I think it would lose all of its authenticity and like what makes it, I think, fun, and what makes it work for me is that what I said when I started the whole thing is, if you film only what you're doing anyway, only film, like I've never gone, just film whatever's happening. And that way, if nobody watches it, well, that's what was happening anyway. So you're not going to be disappointed because you were going to do it anyway. And that was kind of how it started. And so I really try to now, this many years later, and trying to balance that with, recognizing that this is now taking up enough of my life and my time that I have to treat it, if not as a job, at least as a commitment. And so that's something that I have to balance. So, format and how you edit. Well, that's very kind. Thank you. How do you edit Dean? Dean is, well, you guys know. I mean, if you watch Dean, the beauty of Dean, and I do, and I edit. Obviously, we edit the shit out of everything. Like, Uh, and Dean, sometimes he's self-conscious about, he's like, well, that wasn't funny, or this is, and I'm like, dude, nobody is funny all the time. Nobody's funny. I said, we're funny about 10% of the time. But I said, but remember that most people are funny 0% of the time. So if you get somebody who's funny 10% of the time and 90% of what they say is not funny, that's a miracle. And Dean is like, he's up, like, I mean, Dean, and I think that the dynamic I have with Dean is really, it's genuine, and it's fun, and and Dean pisses me off sometimes, but there's the thing with Dean is there's absolutely no malice. Dean has not a malicious bone in him. So if Dean does something that pisses me off, I know that he didn't mean to. And that is something that I always have to keep in my mind, because I'm like, Dean, what the? But it's like, okay, but he didn't. That's just, that's just what happens. Whatever. So Dean is, Dean is absolutely awesome to edit, honestly, like, because that if Dean's on the screen, that you're going to be able to use a certain amount of it, and that's not true of me necessarily. And when I started this, I never pointed the camera at myself at all. So there, Hope DJ, Crown, Vic, show your address. I need to have random people show up at your place. Yeah, they do. But it's not very often, and everybody who ever has been very, very kind. So like nobody's ever showed up and been like, I hate you guys, and these are all stupid cars, and why did like, I think those people probably have somewhere better to be. So yeah, no, everybody who's ever shown up has been very kind, and so I'll tell you, I don't encourage it just because it, it's still my yard. It's not a business, right? If this was a business and it had a big sign out front and there was like, then I would expect it a lot more. But it is just my house and my yard, and is so that I think a lot of people respect that, and I appreciate it. But I know everybody that does show up, and they've all been very, very kind. So let me see if I can get through. What do you use for editing? I think I mentioned DaVinci, whatever it's called. What is it called? DaVinci something. I don't even remember. Something Pro. Anyway, would you ever put a blooper reel out? Oh, well, I've said many times, I put the blooper reel out every Saturday. Like, that's the blooper. I only put out the blooper reel. That's the whole show. Jonathan says, so you're telling me Dean actually does dumber things off camera? Couldn't resist. Yeah, I tried to get. If he does it off camera, I regret that the camera wasn't on, because there's I think the best thing with Dean is he's just naturally funny, and the stuff that he says is just like, yeah, and the stories he tells, the stories, like, he'll just casually talk, oh, that time I got maced by the cops. He'll just tell these stories, and I'm like, I've never been maced by the cops, and he'll just I just go off on this yarn about the time that he punched a cop, and I'm not advocating that any of that is funny, but it's pretty funny when he just casually tell you, like, there's other people might have a filter to be like, that's probably not a story that you should share with the world. But he doesn't care. He just thinks it's super funny, and he's not defending his action. He's totally, he's completely, he understands that he deserved it and he did something stupid, but just to tell the story, that's like, really? Oh, and I got pulled over and I had a gun in the back seat, and like, he just tells these stories, but they're the same. Like, he goes through the world, and I never want to speak for Dean. I try not to speak for anybody, but Dean does go through the world the way that you see him around here. I mean, you would never, I never want to fake any of this. So what do you see? And people have come here and they've seen the show, and then they'll come over and they're like, wow, it's just like the show. I'm like, well, yeah, that's the show. Is this? It's not the other way around. This is not the show. The show is just turning the camera on the same shit that happens every day around here. Like, and so when you see Dean on the show, the Dean that's on the show is no different than the Dean that goes to work where Dean works, and the Dean that goes to the airport to go see his daughter. Like, it's the same guy. And I think Dean is in Seattle right now. He was taking his daughter to a show or something. So, yeah, his family lives in BC and his mom's there, so he's helping her, and because she's getting older. And yeah, Dean, but he's a very, very, very good man, but sometimes the thought process is just kind of just different from what you or I might do. But I'll tell you, I always look forward to Dean coming over, whatever it's for. There's never, even if I'm mad at him, like, often I'm mad at him because I'm like, why aren't you coming over and hanging out? That's the only time I ever really get mad at Dean, is when he doesn't want to come over and hang out, because he's just so much fun to be around. And he's so awesome to be around. Like, Dean, I need somebody to carry really heavy things. He's just like, yes. He just loves it. He just fucking, let's get over and carry these heavy things. And can I just push that car out of the way? I'm like, yeah, man, let's push it out of the way. And he just fucking, yeah. It's awesome. And so I'd like to think that the good cop, bad cop kind of dynamic is genuine, and it's natural. And I think that it provides, because I'm pretty dry and I'm pretty, kind of monotone and kind of mopey, and so to have that, and that's that's why I think that the puppies are such an important part of the show, because otherwise it's just a mopey old man that lives in a junkyard banging on fenders. So it needs something, besides that. And so, yeah, and just to be so lucky to have these people in my life, and our philosophy and our central mantra is to be worth knowing. And so people can be worth knowing in 1,000 different ways. And I'd like to think that Dean and I are both worth knowing, but in completely different ways for different reasons. But being worth knowing, if you get 10 people that are worth knowing in the room at the same time, turn on the camera and edit it. And that's all I've ever done. Turn on the camera and take out the parts where somebody's looking for a screwdriver, because that shit drives me crazy. You watch YouTube show and the guy's like, well, I should take this off. And then he's like, oh, I can't find my screwdriver. And he wanders around. The camera goes with him. Oh, I'm going to open these drawers. And like, I know that's nobody here. I'm talking about stuff I saw 10 years ago. It's nobody, I'm not talking about anybody in that's even still doing YouTube. But it was one of the things when I started doing it, I was like, you're not going to do that. You're going to wander around, because I spent 74% of my time wandering around looking for shit. And if I could get that time back, I would be like living to be 300 years old. The amount of time that I spend looking for the same 6 goddamn things, keys, wallet, phone. Like, I try not to leave the room until I have those things. But today it was the tripod. Where's the tripod? Well, I got 13 cars. I got to check all of them. Well, I left it in the bar because we were filming the news with Dean. but not before I tore apart the kitchen and 3 cars and both shops and oh my God. And then Miles was like, did you leave it in the bar? I'm like, oh. So anyway, another long answer. How did I meet Dean? Dean was hanging around my car, my blue 72 Fury. When I came out of motor vehicles one day, I was getting my license plate renewed. And I come out and there was this dude, he's walking around the car and he's clearly quite fascinated with it. And he's like, 72 Fury. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I love it. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And he's like, I love old cars. And then we started talking. He's like, I have he had a couple of Edsels at the time, not anything that he drove, but he started listing off all these weird cars that he had. I was like, oh, okay, I get it. This fellow here has the sickness. He's definitely like, he likes cars. I said, well, if you like cars, you should come by sometime. And so I got his phone number, and some number of weeks later, this is about when I was writing the blogs, so like 2009 or whatever. That's probably when I met him, 12, 14 years ago, I guess, give or take. And so I just said, hey, I gave him directions, and he showed up in a 72 Olds 98 two-door hardtop. It was pretty cool. And he had to start it. He had one of those starter things that mechanics have. That was, the ignition didn't work inside. So that was what he was. So every time he went to go somewhere, he'd be like, okay, see you later. And he'd pop the hood. He'd be like, he'd get it going, and he'd close the hood and fucking drive off. And I was like, this guy's funny. And then every time he came over, he was showing up and he's just, oh, I bought this from the junkyard. I couldn't let them crush it. And I'm like, well, you could have actually. And just junker after town cars and old cutlasses and and after a while, I was like, he actually likes this stuff. Like, he's not just goofing off. He's not being ironic. Like, he likes these cars. And then I was like, that's kind of weird. It's funny. And he would just always just show up like, dude, do you not have a good car? And he's like, no, that's awesome. But then he would always flipping them, just flip. And I'm like, and I was like, and then he would always show me pictures. Let's check out what I got. And I'm like, you're just flipping that. You're just greasy flipper, aren't you? Yeah. And that's where the idea came from. It was like, these things are such garbage. It's funny. It was like, and I was like, show me the garbage you have for sale this week. And that's where the greasy flips thing came from. And then I was like, well, instead of showing me on the camera, let's actually go out. And then we went out to Flip Town there, which I'd never been there before. And I drove in there. I was like, holy shit. Just LTDs like a demolition derby, just lined up. Crazy. So that's how I met Dean. Yeah, just instantly, it's like, this guy is broken in the head. And I really I like people like that. Jim, instantly when I met Jim, like 2 minutes later, it's like, this guy is hilarious and he's so broken in the head. I couldn't believe Jim was only like 24 when I met him. I thought he was like 40 because he was, so mature, and he had an engineering ring, and he was, of course, I guess the brush painted BMW with a big 8-ball on the door probably should have given me a little bit of a clue. No, when I first met him, he was driving somebody else's car. Anyway, wow. Let me see. You take Frangers to the salon. How does a stylist know which one to work on? I'm not sure I understand. So anyway, that's the story of Dean. Seems like Frangers is done eating and she's passed out in her chair. Sorry guys, this stupid scrolly thing just buggers off every time. I'm gonna just, oh my god, there's so many. Sorry guys, I didn't realize I was rambling. Well, I did. I'll just kind of there. Anyway, whatever. Let's go through these, and then I should probably get to work because, oh my god, it's 9:09. So we will wrap her up. Anybody got any questions? I probably won't get to them. I don't even remember what we were talking about. Hey, there's Miles. Miles, Mopar Freak. Nice to hear you guys. Thanks. Hope you all got back on those lost projects. Yeah, Miles was just here today. He and his dad did some tires for his dad's new truck, so that was awesome. And yeah, we'll catch up with Miles and the top secret driver of the Studebaker V8 Challenge car. Our secondary driver also got injured, so now we had to go for driver number 3, and it was going to be me. But I'll give you a hint: it's not me. It's a surprise ringer. So I hope you guys get a laugh. I was when I got the phone call, I was like, "You would? That's actually superbly hilarious. Yes, please come and drive." And then I knew that the video was going to be good. So hope you guys are looking forward to that. The video is taking a bunch of effort, but I hope it to be worth it. So let's see. Did Tom paint cars for a living? Good question. Yes, he did. Tom painted cars for one of the very high-end shops in Edmonton for probably 30 years. So when Tom comes over and you see him mixing paint and you see him talking about paint and such, he knows what he's talking about. Tom has an excellent eye, and he did paint cars for anybody living in Edmonton has probably heard of Doug's Place. So Tom was the head painter at Doug's Place for many years, and he did they did everything. And before Doug's Place in the 60s and early 70s, Tom painted and worked in various shops in Saskatchewan. And so Tom and I are also, well, we're both from Saskatchewan, so we share that. And there's a certain directness to people from the GCFCE boys, both from Saskatchewan. And so I don't know, sometimes I get some heat from people who don't appreciate the vernacular. But it's genetic. What can you say? You're born in Saskatchewan. You're gonna use the colorful vernacular all the time, and the whole show is meant. One of the reasons I won't censor it and I refuse to edit all that out is like, but that's the backdrop of the show, like the whole thing. And again, it's not even a show. What is it? Who even knows what this is? But like, if you're going to film something and you're trying to capture, and I don't think whatever it is that we're doing or whatever it is that we have that is this, I don't think it'll be as easy to find in a generation. And that's why Tom is such a treasure. My old boss, Al, the GCFCE boys that directed that coarseness, but balanced with humor and observation. That is something I think. Now, I'm not saying that there's not other places in the world that have their own version of that. Of course, they all do, but I'd like to think that I'm kind of trying to document that little micro culture, that little Western Canadian blue collar kind of culture where, you do start sentences with the F word and you may finish the sentence with it as well, just as a bookend. You bookend your thoughts with some profanity. And I guess the thing is, we don't even notice it. Like when I'm talking to nobody's laughing at the amount of profanity, but I'd like to think that other people watching it, if they're hearing that amount of, I'd like to think that people understand that I think that that's funny and I think that that's relevant, and that's why it's in there. Like I say, I spend a lot of time editing. So if there's a lot of profanity in there, it's because I think it adds to whatever narrative. I think that it's relevant to what I'm trying to do, and it's not just it's not there for no reason. That I just think that it is relevant to
the overall thing I'm trying to do. Sorry if that sounds like I live upside my own ass. It's not really meant to be that. I just sometimes I get asked, why all the profanity? Why? It's like, A, I hardly notice it, and B, it's like saying, well, why do you all, drive trucks and wear plaid shirts? It's all the same thing. Like it's the same thing. And so if it's going to be real, then it's like Justin doesn't go home and put on his Justin costume to come over. Like that's just how it is. So I can't, it would do a disservice to all of it to clean it up too much. And that's the disappointment with YouTube, is that they don't care about any of that. They don't care that, YouTube doesn't. Now, of course, and I do rate the show. Like sometimes I'll get angry comments from people like, oh, I was watching it with my kids and they shouldn't be hearing this language. And I'm like, well, of course they shouldn't. The show is rated adults only. Like, if you watch it with your kids, that's on you. That's not on me. Like, if you're letting your kids watch this, don't get mad at me. Like, anyhow, I don't even remember what the question was. Yeah, I did beat DMV. That's right. So, let's go through the questions. Yeah. So, yeah, same old shit. That's right, you guys. And damn it. There. Sorry, guys. I'm this stupid thing. I must be 500 questions. Sorry, guys. I'm just gonna have to catch down here, catch up, catch down, whatever. What's the name of the song you played? Oh, that's called Background Noise. That's all I could think of when I finished. I was like, what are we going to call this? Because it wasn't originally written to be the song at the end of the show. It was originally written as background noise for some other thing that I had filmed. And then I used it at the end of the show once when I was rolling the credits. And I was like, it kind of works there. So I just have always left it there, but I never changed the name. It's just called Background Noise. And the other one after it is called 5/4 thing, because it's in 5/4. I don't spend a lot of time on the names, honestly. So I hope that answers. Not a very great story to the name of that one, but what's Al been up to? Al's been doing a lot of work with Jim and Matt out at Strong's Garage, and he's been putting together a customer car for them there. Stephen asks, yeah, so we hope we get some more of Al sometime, but he's been keeping himself very busy. When's Laura going to drive the 37? Very soon, actually, as in today. I just haven't yet. It'll be a couple of weeks before it's edited, but somebody asked, what does GCFCE stand for? The Gentlemen's Center for Cultural Enrichment. Not originally Gentlemen's, it was the boy's last name, but like with the agent thing, I don't use people's real names because this show is not exactly something you want on your resume. So that's what the Center for Cultural Enrichment. Yeah. Or Enlightenment, I guess. Either way. Yeah. So let's see if there's any other questions. Sorry, now the questions or the comments are all to do. Oh, here we go. There. So, you would have then. Are the boys? Yes, they are twins. Yeah. Does Tom live close to me? Yes, he lives about quarter mile away in the subdivision next to here.
yeah, he mostly walks over on his bike, or he drives his little Ford thing, but he parks by the house. Right, Volkstail says the profanity is normal in the shop. Of course it is, right? And I've been working in body shop since I was 17, so it's just you don't even hear it after a while. It's just, you know. Personal question: what kind of music do you enjoy listening to? I know you can't play in your videos, but you chose to. What did you play? Um, I I like all kinds of music actually. I don't have any music collection, and I don't really. It's kind of weird because I don't. Some people I know, a lot of people, they have to have music on all the time, and I guess I don't mind when it is on all the time as long as it's not commercial radio because I just had to turn that off years ago. But I'll listen. I like classical music. I listen to Bach a lot. I listen to black metal. I love Norwegian black metal. I like since I've met Pete and Matt, I like really opened up my horizons with um, a lot of the old classic country and trucker songs and stuff. We love that stuff, and it's just, yeah, maybe it's like cars where I haven't narrowed it down enough that I can concentrate on actually, but it's not my primary motivation. Like, I enjoy it, I like playing it, but I don't, you know, I don't, I'm not, I don't have to have it on all the time. You don't have to be surrounded by it. My car radios are all turned off. I used to like to listen to the radio in the car, but somewhere about 10 years ago, they really became propaganda outlets to the point where it was impossible to pretend it was anything else. And so I've turned them all off. Um, so yeah, music, I can't really narrow it down. When I was a kid, of course, we listened to top 40. I used to really like listening to the Police and listened to a lot of Van Halen. Went through a Van Halen phase. Obviously, guy's goddamn genius. Still can listen to it. Still can. Loved Iron Maiden. Loved all the metal. I still can listen to Black Sabbath. The first 6 Black Sabbath albums, I can listen to them on rotation. The first 3 Roxy Music albums. I don't know. I don't really have any, like anything I just have to be around. Modern music. I really like Fu Manchu, the stoner boogie van rock and roll band. Man, that stuff's awesome. Love it, love it. Um, so yeah, music is something I do for fun, but I'm um, not. And we used to be. I was in a band when we were kids, and we had a van, and we drove around, and we made records, and we did all this crap. But I never. I always saw it as a vehicle to being able to buy cars. I never really saw the music as the end or as the thing. It was always a means to the end, and the end was always collect cars. So, and it still is. Like, music, I enjoy it. I like making music for the show. I like listening to music, but I don't. It's not the number one thing in my life, and it never has been. There was times when it was much closer to the top than it is now, but of course I do more with music now with my friends and with the show than I did for the last 20 years. So, but I think a big part of it is recognizing that music for me has to be a hobby. It can't be anything I can take seriously because, like I'm too old to be an astronaut too. Like, it's time to just recognize that ship has sailed. And so, and to get up every day and worry about you know getting better at what I like to do is good enough. Like, I recognize that what I really like doing is fixing up cars, and to be able to, like, when we were in a band and we were on stage and stuff, and people out, and I always felt like not a fraud, but I always felt like you were putting it on to some extent. Like, I'm not as into this as I'd like to I'd like them to be, you know what I mean? But whereas with the cars, like I don't have to pretend to be enthusiastic about all the like I'm I don't have to pretend to be excited when I buy some junker. I don't have to pretend that I really like the way a certain thing looks on a car. Like I think about that shit all day long, and it was never the case with music. As much as I like doing it, it was always like something that I could put down and okay, well that was that was nice. Let's go get back to cars. So that's that's uh, that's kind of how the music thing has gone, and it's just part of it's just part of something I like. I like writing too. I originally started the YouTube channel to get traffic over to the blog I was writing, but then the YouTube channel seemed to do better than the blog, so I just quit writing the blog. But you know, I don't consider myself like I'm not doing YouTube because I want to be a videographer. As much as I enjoy trying to get better at it, it to me is a way of documenting the cars themselves. In the end, all of this is for the cars, and so as much as I might have trouble mustering the enthusiasm to sit in front of the computer and edit for 20 hours, I never have to fake up any enthusiasm to go out and work on cars. And if I have to document the process to allow me to do it, then I'm happy to document the process. And I try to do the best I can. Just, if I have to write the music for the show, I do the best I can. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend that the best that I can do is the best that can be done. It's not going to. But I really do. The cars are the thing. Like that is the center of all of it. And it's as long as there's that, like, and I'll do the rest to make that happen. Is Dean's real name Dean? Oh, top secret. It's Tom. Yes. Sorry, guys, just trying to skim through here. Do you have any tricks of getting the water distribution tube out of a Dodge Plymouth Flathead? No, I do not. Sorry, I know what you're referring to, but I honestly, I don't. I just don't. I'm sure that it's documented very well by somebody. Most of those engines that I have are kind of get them running, and as long as it'll go around the yard, I'm happy. So I haven't really spent enough time to build like a really nice one that I could give you a good answer. Sorry about that. How's the paint coming on your sister's car? Very close. It should be this week. Well, I say that. I've been saying that for a while, but it is the final coat of primer is on. My niece was out prepping it today, and as soon as the editing is done this weekend, all next week is rover time, and I want to I would like to see. Now we're going to blow it all apart and just paint the central tub, like the door jambs, the roof, inside the trunk, inside the engine bay. I want to paint the tub, the carcass of the car, then off it goes. Then it's going to go back to Colin, and I'll paint the doors and fenders and everything separately. Then we're going to reassemble the whole car after. So I would like to get step one of that done this week. So, there Miles is Butch Bright also owns a 60 Velvet 59 Fury. That's my kind of guy. When the Rover's finished, what's the next big build? Well, I don't know if we consider the SM a big build because it's not coming completely apart. I think the next car that's coming completely apart is probably the 59 Invicta or LeSabre, whatever that thing is. That's going to be a big one. I also have some other ideas, but that'll be a big one. It's hard because I have so many that I'd love to do, so I have to really choose carefully because it's a big commitment. I think that's something that people miss when they start on project cars. Is the first 10% of it's easy, it's easy to blow it all apart, but can you finish it? So that's the difference, and that was what the 60 Fury was about. Is like if you're going to make this commitment, you finish it. And I did build a bunch of other cars in the meantime, but that was, you'll notice I haven't torn apart the 57 yet, or the 58 yet, or I haven't tore into, like, I don't want to be the guy who dies with 500 cars scattered all over his yard. Like anything that I don't get to finish won't even be started.
So I want 1 or 2 cars underway at all times. One that's going to be a full-on restoration and one that's going to be a mechanical refurbishment. So that way there's only ever one car getting major body work at any given time. And then I think that's very manageable. So one like the 37 Chev and one like the Fury. So the Chev is just kind of mechanical and fun and weekends and leaning on the fenders and whatever. And one that's just like a life-ruining nightmare, 1,000-hour shitbox with complete interior and everything. I like that balance. So that's what I'm going to aim for. Yeah. So, well, let's see. Dean? Yep, sorry. We mentioned earlier that Dean is in BC visiting his daughter. Birdsome, yes, that was the original, as far as I understand. Black metal, not the original, but one of, and certainly the one that the first, I think that I understand, the first with the 8th notes on the kick drum or 16th notes on the kick drum, which is now that is a staple now in that genre. And again, I don't know much about it, but I just know what I like. Have you seen a Vauxhall lately? Only on Peter Anderson's channel. My Australian friend is rebuilding Vauxhalls, multiple ones. And my friend Pete is building a Vauxhall Forenza. I think he's going to put a small block in it and make a car, the similar tribute to a car that they made in South Africa. They had a series down there where they would race these Vauxhall cars with they put in them LT1 Het motors or Z. Not up on it. No, it was Z28 302s. And they brought them back and they convinced GM to crank out a 500 more 302s Z28 motors, and they put them in these Vauxhalls and they raced them against the Piranha Capri, which is very similar to what Andy put together out of his 74 Capri. So Pete's going to build the competitor car. So we'll have the 2 very, very interesting cars coming together here. So sorry, I'm trying to catch up. Hammers likes the beard. Well, you're a sweetie. Late 60s. So I'm just trying to get through about the $5 Roadster. Oh, yeah, sorry, we talked about that a little earlier. It is on the list, absolutely. Again, everything is contingent on Laura's car getting finished. I have to finish cars that aren't mine before I can really enjoy the process to finish that one. But if I wasn't going to finish it, it wouldn't be sitting in the shop. It is there, and I look at it, and I have the plan, and Ashley said, and we were going to do it this summer, but we decided to do the V8 Showdown instead. I think that was the right decision, just because the V8 Showdown, there was a lot, it made for something that was fun and a group project that we could all have fun with. Whereas the Roadster project is a very intense project, and there's a lot of fabrication, and you can't just have your friends over on a Tuesday night and just say, here, just make me the hood for this car, or just like a lot of it, there's a lot of machining and a lot of very intense hammering and metalwork and noisy and very slow, and 7 hours later you have a little thing that's this big and you're like, so again, balancing what makes good YouTube with what makes the cars. And in this summer's case, because I was concentrating on Laura's car, and I have done a lot of hours on it, but I also recognize that you can only show yourself tapping on door edges and shit like that for so many hours, and people will just go watch something else. So even though I had to still do all that, I wanted to put something together that was fun with the boys that we could do, that was not a life-ruining, 1,000-hour thing. So that's why I decided to do the V8s, and I have no regrets. I think that the
series did well for the show, and I think I certainly enjoyed it. I had fun editing it, and I think we made, and now day after tomorrow is the finale. So, and that means back. And now in the meantime, I've done all the tedious door edge tapping on Laura's car and all the, just it's so, there's only so much of that you can film. And I did film some of it, and a lot of it I was just like, I'm not going to make people watch me block the side of this car. Like, that's just not going to happen. Let's get some noise. Let's put some junkers together and have, and that's kind of where the show came from. So I don't want to, kind of think that I've gotten too good for just playing with junkers, because playing with junkers is really damn fun. It really is. So the Roadster has to, it's kind of in that situation as well, where Laura's car's got to get done first, and the Roadster work is very tedious. So it wasn't something that I could have the fellas over and we could all hang out and have some laughs. Like, the Roadster work is it's going to be very intense, and I wouldn't even say meticulous. It's just, a lot of it's just tedious. God, drilling holes and welding and grinding welds, and there's only so much of it that you want to film. But if we get Laura's car out of here and we get a whole bunch of guys and we really get after, like, Ashley's game, and and we can really get after it and hammer it together. But I mean, it's still all the upholstery has to be built from scratch, everything. It's a pretty intense job. So it wasn't going to work with trying to build Laura's car at the same time. So that is legitimately why that is not done. And so doesn't mean it's not going to get done. I finish what I start. It's just, it's taking a while. I'll tell you that for sure. Yeah. Who's good as your niece? The one that comes over and does the sanding is Andy's youngest daughter. And my sister's daughters are, they're in school. So I have been getting Andy's youngest daughter. So there, let's see. Oh my, did I really lose that much time again here? Sorry guys, let me catching up here. Do 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 da da. 59 Saber, that's right. Yeah, so is Al's mystery car an Anglia? Al's mystery car. No, it is not an Anglia. Any calendar giveaways? Well, we'll probably give some away after we're done selling as many as we can. And yeah, so that's something that I would like to do for sure. Hey, Dan Marceau, Warriors t-shirt. Thanks so much, Dan. That was very cool that you would buy one. You guys are very kind. What's going on with Stephen's sod project? It is on hold while Stephen gets his acreage project together. Stephen bought acreage last year, and just like when I bought this place, it's just a crumbling ruin. But he bought it because you need room to park your junkers. So that's what he's doing. His sod is still here. All the tools are set up, and whenever he's got time, he will work on it. But I'm certainly not going to hound him when he needs a roof and a shop with, once he gets his shop set up, he might want to work on it there. But that is a fantastic project. He's been hoarding parts. So he's got the correct, he wants, the 2-stroke engine board. He bought another parts car. He's got acres of parts, and he's got lots of room, but he's also got a full-time job working on these crazy British cars at this shop that he works at in town here. And so if you ever see Stephen at the end of the videos, and he, and I kind of put those in just for a joke, when like Stephen comes over in a Bentley convertible and stuff, well, obviously those aren't his cars. Like, Stephen drives a $500 Subaru. So those are cars that he has to road test for work, but sometimes he'll come by with one. So we have to film it because it just looks so out of place in this place. What was that called? Bentley, not a Continental. I don't know what it was called, with the flip top roof and the white leather, white pearl paint, just like an outrageous 8,000-pound monstrosity. Anyway, so funny to see Steven in there. So anyway, if you guys wonder where the Aston Martins and stuff are coming from, that's what Steven works on all day. So he has to work on those. So that's the story there, and that's why the Saab is kind of like right now it has to be behind like having a roof and a functioning sewer system, and that kind of thing. So are there videos of the channel of the Capri? Yes, there are very old ones. If you go to my channel and like click on popular videos, I think it's the most popular video. And then I think from there you might see there's another video update with a different paint job and new engine. And that was probably 5 to 10 years ago. Any chance Peter would visit again? That was awesome. Well, I mean, he lives on the other end of the planet. So he's obviously welcome. I told him, don't just visit. I said, just move. You know, hell, you kids are old enough. They just move here and help me work on cars. But that's a lot to ask. Anyway, Peter's awesome. Sometimes I get to talk to him on the phone, and we send each other pictures of our crap. I mean, he's got the sickness, man. It's awesome, and I love watching what he drags home every couple of weeks. He's just awesome. So, yeah, it would be a treat to have Peter back again anytime. So. Let's see, trying to get caught up. Send the machine to Jonathan W. Yeah, he's not busy for sure. Yeah. Have I seen the picture of Marilyn Monroe and Banff in the 50s in a limo like mine? I don't know if I've seen that, but I've heard it. Yeah, there was 6 limos there, so there's only a 1 in 6 chance that was my car. I ran into a guy at the T races, and he said he had more pictures of the Banff limo. So I hope that he gets a hold of me, because I don't know if the pictures that he has are ones that are available to the public. So if you guys want to see something weird, just before we go, I'll show you this one thing because it's really cool. Fury Dave, Agent 1080, was cruising through the old Facebook the other day, and he found this photograph. I'm going to zoom in on it here. It's a photograph taken of the Alberta legislature Capitol building, downtown Edmonton here. And you can see it says 1867, 1967 on that banner there. Sorry, I'm sucking at this. It's very hard to see. And if you see down below there, there's a 1960 Fury two-door hardtop there, right? So this picture posted on Facebook. And I thought, you know, what's weird is there was a Government of Alberta parking sticker on this car, on my car when I got it. So I thought, what are the odds that this totally random picture? So I sent that photograph to sorry, let me oh, damn it. Anyway, I sent the photograph to Kevin, the grandson of the original owner, and I said, check it out, 1960 Fury, parked in front of the Capitol building, and taken in 1967. And he writes, oh, Scott, my grandfather, Ed Ball, worked for the Alberta government for many years, and his next door neighbor was an MLA, which is a member of the Legislative Assembly. So he definitely had a reason to be at the legislature. However, looking closely at the rear bumper, I can see his ratty homemade trailer hitch. So that's his car. That's amazing. So what a crazy coincidence. Because we have no old pictures of that Fury, and there it is parked. That's my car parked in front of the Alberta Capitol in 1967, because that was the Canada's centennial anniversary. And you can see in the picture that it's running black wall tires, and it's looking a little down at the heels. There's a big ugly trailer hitch on the back, and he had every reason to be there. So that was a really cool thing. So I'm going to try to get a hold of the person who posted that picture, and I want to try to make a little thing for the channel where we can get a little better detail and get I don't want to post that without the person's permission, and I would like to credit them, of course, for the photo, but I'm not on Facebook, so all I have is this photo and this story. So anyway, a little something that I thought was really, really quite cool, and what an amazing coincidence that just happened to cross my path
that picture's 56 years old. So pretty crazy. Oop, and where do we end up here? Sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to just rip out how'd the headliner go in your friend's car. Oh, you mean Miles's car? Fine. We put a video up. I think it looked pretty good. Laura's cabin. We just talked about that. The basement is dug and it's ready for forming and concrete, and then the cabin, of course, will go on top of that. My favorite engine right now. That's a fun question. I don't know. My favorite engine is I think probably the next one. I'm looking forward to working on the Buick Nailhead. Honestly, I think that'll be cool. That'll be this winter, and I want to do like we did with the Studebaker, which is tear down a basically complete engine and freshen it up the best we can without spending any money, and try and make the very best engine we can for next to nothing. So that'll be fun. And I'm actually considering tearing that into that Dynaflow as well. So something I've never tried before is a funny old automatic. So I think that'll be fun. And Stu 53, how's Franker's eye? Oh, thank you for asking. She's fine. We took her to the vet that night and got some eye drops for her. And a couple of days later, she's completely forgotten about it, which was great because she was quite irritated. So enjoy all the Kyle Carter episode. Hope you do another with collaboration with Kyle and or DD Speed Shop. So that would be really fun. Those guys are great. And I'm always happy to get together with those fellas. There's news about well, it's too bad. Maybe you can get it back. Farrell had a very nice Chevette. Well, if you end up getting it back, it'll be that was a nice car. It's too bad he wrecked it. Recreate the 60 Fury picture. That would be really cool. Yeah. Car I dream of finding. There's a few. Facel Vega, I think would be something. Maserati Camzen, not really going to find one of those, but Facel Vega is probably, I did find one, the gentleman where I bought the Peugeot and stuff, he had one, and there's a video on my channel, and I was really excited, and I was going to try and buy it, and it was a little more money than I had. Well, it was a lot more money than I had, especially at the time, and it was cheap. It was still cheap for a Facel Vega, but it was just so far beyond. Like everything was missing. It was just you could just wiggle all the roof, and the whole structure was gone. It was just garbage. So anyhow, that was a pretty interesting thing to happen. So. But Facel Vega, it'd be the only thing that could probably maybe that I would trade the SM for. But honestly, I think the SM just drives like no other car. Like the Facel Vega would be very amazing, but I think I could trade a very, very nice SM for a very rough Facel Vega and then another 2,000 hours of work to put it back together. So things in my life would have to change pretty substantially for me to end up with the Facel Vega or any number of extremely rare cars. Of course, I'd love a real Fury from 57 or 8, but they're, the thing is that it looks the same as a Belvedere, and Belveders are much easier to find and much less expensive. So since I'm really more about the style than the serial number, then I would be totally happy with a Belvedere or of either of those years. But if a Fury came along, that would be pretty spectacular. I'd have a hard time, because I know how rare they are. But excuse me, we'll have to see. There's just a bottomless number. Like I would never get tired of buying cars. Never. There's no amount of money you could give me, like none. No amount of money that you could give me that I wouldn't piss it away on cars. So they're, there's a lot of cars that I didn't know I needed till I saw them too. So
Would I ever sell any restored cars? No. Well, I don't know. I'm at the point now where anything that is going to get that amount of effort, like really to get put together like the Fury, where you do everything, you try and do a nice job and all that work, it means more to me as you know, to say, to look at and say you did it than any amount of money. The cars, like, I don't really care about money, so selling the cars would be pointless because I don't really care about money, and I only care about cars. So why would I sell a car that I restored? Because I'm only going to restore cars that I really, really like. So if I was to suddenly say sell my 60 Fury, well, the first thing I would want to do with the money is buy a 60 Fury. And then whatever I bought would probably not be as good as the one I just sold, because at least the one I sold, I know how it was put together, and I know it has, you know, and I know, you know, at least you know the car, and I know that everything fits and the doors close and the windows work. And 90% of restored cars you buy they look restored, and some of them don't even do that. So that's why I don't really sell restored cars. I would never restore a car just to sell it, because there's no money in that. If you're selling cars and restoring them to sell, then it's very difficult to do a good job and make money. You can usually do one or the other, is what I've found. So I would just rather restore cars for me. And yeah, if I'm going to restore it, it's just way too much work it means too much to me to look at the finished thing. I just want to keep it. I just like cars. I don't really care about money. Sure, that's your car, 67. Yeah. Yeah, who won the V8 showdown? Oh, I'm not saying. I'll say, well, frankly, I don't even know. Like, I know who won out of our two cars, but I'm not sure how Jonathan's car did. So, all else being equal, since our cars ran well, and I'm assuming his ran well, there's no reason it wouldn't. If you were to take all three of those cars and put them on a legit drag strip and have equally good drivers in all three, it would be Jonathan's car well ahead of my Studebaker, which would be well ahead of the Ford. I mean, that's just simple math. I mean, the Ford, even when it was new, made 110 horsepower, and the Studebaker made 175. Jonathan's car probably well over 200, 250. So it would be no contest. So in fact, the whole showdown was really just about having fun. There was never, I mean, if we were going to do a real showdown where it actually mattered, you wouldn't do it anything like that. You would try to pick better, equally matched cars, or you make everybody buy the exact same car and you take it to a strip and you would time them. We're just out having some laughs. Everybody won. Honestly, we won. We laughed so hard. We laughed watching those sorry old junkers burning the tires and stuff. I mean, I know I won, so I hope you guys win too, because it's really, that's what it's about. It's just, man, seeing the results, like, those were junk. Those cars sitting there in the junkyard with no wheels and no headlights, and then, you know, then it's out there on the track, you know, sounding awesome and making everybody laugh. That, you know, that's winning. Obviously, we didn't even time them. We just put a finish line and we were just like, go for it, you know. So, and it was really just the best we could do in the time that we had, and we had a blast. Is Jonathan going to be at the V8 challenge? Well, his car will be in the video. He has sent me a link to the video, so that's going to that's the best we can do. I think, not sure, but I'm pretty sure Jonathan lives probably 2,000 miles away from here, so it's just unrealistic that he's going to be able to get it up here. And if he did, I would probably try and buy it off him, because that's an amazing car. Do you have a favorite year of Chrysler 300? 57 or 8, probably. 57 to 61. I mean, far and away, really. I would be just thrilled with any one of those. Maybe one day. They're absolutely amazing car. But I've decided for forward load cars that I'm going to concentrate on Plymouths. So because other ones always come along, and I'm like, I almost bought a DeSoto Sportsman last year, and but I was like, well, every car I buy at this point in my life means another one's not getting done. So that's how it had to. So I have to say no to everything except I've decided Plymouth Furies 57 to 61. If I can build a 57 to 61 two-door hardtop, I have all the raw material to do it. That's 5 two-door hardtops of all my favorite years of Plymouths. To even try more than that would be unrealistic and greedy, and I really just like, those are the cars I drew pictures of on my books. I knew all the differences between the little differences in the years, and I would draw pictures of 57. So that's the cars I'm going to build. That was something I always thought that would be just total rock star stuff to my 12-year-old self, would be having a garage with those all lined up. And so I'm going to do it, and I'm going to build them out of garbage. And if anybody wants to watch, that's how we're going to do it. So that's the plan. So how many cars do I have licensed? Right now, I think 11 or 12, counting the motorcycle. That also counts the daily driver pickup truck and whatever. But yeah, I think that's plenty. That's enough. It's enough. That's a lot of batteries, and it's a lot of tires, and a lot of oil changes, and it's a lot of insurance, and so anyhow, it's a lot of work. But I don't. I tell you, I never walk out there and go, "Oh, I should get rid of some of these cars." Like, I do sometimes, and I will probably, but not to me, once they've got plates on them, then okay, well, I don't really need to sell them. So. Anyway, it's been Jonathan Studebaker 275 horse. Yeah, so that's 100 more than my fastest car in the contest. So there's, it would be silly to pretend that we're going to actually win on a fair fight. So I'm pretty sure. What's going on here? Nope, I'll have to call him back. Anyway, it has been over 3 hours, guys, and I still have 8 hours of editing ahead of me. And thank you all so much. I thought I'd come on for an hour, and then 3 hours later, there's still 400 people here. So, it's very, very honored that you guys would sit here and listen to this bullshit. So, I'm going to have to sign off here and get back to the editing. It's just my eyes will be. I've already got sore eyes and looking at the screen, and it's just my own stupid face. So you guys are very kind, and we will see everybody very soon. And I hope that you all enjoy these short V8 showdown video. And we got some surprises, and we got some I think it'll be really fun. But it really means that I gotta put it together, and and now I have to figure out why I've got no audio, and I'm just anyway, that's not anybody's problem but mine. You guys are very kind. Thank you, everybody who sent tips in on the super chat thing. That was not at all why we were doing this, but it is extremely generous of you guys, and I hope that if I missed anybody's questions or whatever, I apologize. I can't, I've done this before. You guys know how it's just, I'll get one question, then I'll rattle on for 40 minutes about it. So I guess I like to be unambiguous. Okay. What's going on here? How do you make this shot off here? You guys are awesome, and we'll see you in a couple days. Apologies again, no video today, but I thought, well, this we'll do this because it's a at least the audio worked. There we go, the red button. All right, you guys, take it easy.